Hello and welcome everybody back to another round, another season of the Virtual Drift Championship. This is season 8. My name is Craig. With me as always is Tanner. What's up, dude?
Oh my god, season 8. What? I'm crazy that it's been this long and I've had so many great years with you. But we're here for another amazing season. It's been a great year and I'm happy to be back.
Absolutely, and back with another new layout, a couple of other new things to the season as well, with the last qualifying that we'll see later after we work through our normal set of qualifying here at this brand new track, Portimao. Fantastic layout, super fun. Look at them coming down that hill there, transitioning back, keeping things going. But let's run through those qualifying rules real quick. Normally, as you see, drivers are given 2 non-consecutive judge laps to qualify. Highest score counts. Tiebreakers are determined by the lower qualifying score. Each qualifying run is judged on line, angle, and impact. Line, angle, and impact. Line is the deal path a vehicle must take on a course. that is marked by those inner clipping points and outer clipping zones. We got a lot of them on this course today, but really just one inside clip, the rest all outside zones. And we'll take a look at that line map in just a moment as well. Angle, of course, is the amount of angle that the driver uses throughout the course. You can't have too much angle, you can have too little of angle, and then you can be a little wobbly with that angle as well. So drivers need to be super smooth throughout the course, and impact is sort of bonus points, I guess you could say, that wow factor that drivers can put on a run. You can see drivers do, I guess, everything right, fill the boxes, get the clipping points, but it can seem, maybe a little boring at times, I guess. Those won't be rewarded as much as those other runs that, just super exciting and on the edge and on the limit and pushing their car to the maximum. And then each judge will score the entire run with a maximum of 100 points. Scores from those 3 judges will be averaged after each run to give the final score with a maximum of 100 points. And then what we've got going on with it all today as well, the top 28 qualifiers, they're going to get locked in to that top 32 for later on today. And then the 29th through the 44th qualifiers, so the next 16 drivers, they get slotted into a top 16 bracket, the last 16 qualifying battles that we'll see later. And they're going to battle it out for those last 4 positions in the top 32, which should end up being extremely, extremely exciting.
Super excited to look forward to this new qualifying format. I think with how close the scores have been, it's going to be a great way to give those who, maybe get the pre-qualifying jitters and they maybe mess up on their runs, that chance to actually still get into the battles for this season.
Yeah, I mean, last season we were cutting so many drivers that were getting 90-point runs, 89-point runs, and just, they weren't getting the chance to battle at all after putting down a near perfect run. Short 10 points off, but here in the Virtual Drift Championship, if you're new, it is tough to qualify high here in this championship. The competition level is just insane amongst all the drivers, and you'll see it here today. Drivers need to really pay attention to the track edge. That's where the 100 points will be obtained. We'll actually take a look at the line map here and start of the course at the top right there, and entering in with a very small decel. I guess you could say it's similar to Riga if you've driven the track, real or virtual. You throw it in, you kind of float for a second, and then you're back on throttle quickly, and you stay on throttle all the way down that hill. And then we have a very small little off throttle portion there for clip 2, your second outside zone. Drivers shouldn't really be on the handbrake hard, on the foot brake hard, or anything like that. It's really just a throw your car, maybe clutch in for a second, and then you're back to it to drive into that inside clip. Otherwise, you're going to wash out, or you decel too much, you're going to lose a ton of momentum while the chase driver is trying to really drive through there, and might cause problems. Then clip 3, your first inside clip, driving into that, and then back to the outside for clip 4, 5, and 6 for a little Manji section there, and then down into clip 7, your next outside zone, a nice smooth arc through there, but really shouldn't be on the there's a yellow line indicating the track edge there. You shouldn't really be following that the whole way around. You kind of leave it a little bit there, but it's still a nice arc. Then we're coming down into clip 8 with your next decel zone there. It's a pretty tricky zone. We debated for a while to put a wall there at clip 8. We decided against it to challenge the drivers in keeping their wheel on the track and not dropping off. You give them a wall, it kind of gives them a buffer to sort of lean on. It gives you a ton of reference. Let's see what happens when we take it away. So we continue on clip 9 and clip 10, your last and final outside zones. Again, super fun track, and we're gonna see these drivers get to it. We have a fun group ahead of us as well. Daniel Andreev is going to start things off. We see those drivers now finishing up their last little bit of practice runs and going one right after the other. Yep, and that's last call from those judges. So, Daniel at the line, ready to go. First run of the year. And Daniel's off. Enter again. He's up there and back on throttle. Very nicely done for a turn run. Look at that transition, keeping things going. Daniel Andreev in the 1 Series here, on the edge of the track, continuing on, throwing it in. Clip 8 riding that course edge there all the way throughout the course. Small, tiny little bobble, but man, what a way to start things out.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, just the bringing it out, showing exactly what we were talking about there while you were going through the line map is just how high qualifying can be. And that score is already starting high with a 94.7
Holy
for
smokes.
Daniel. And as
Daniel
you were saying
Andreev.
that, I was going to interject and say last year the lowest qualifying score to get into the top 32 was an 88, if I'm not mistaken. So anything can happen. Victor Lachera set the line, ready to rock it out in that beautiful S chassis. Off the line he goes, initiates in. Nice flick initiation with a little bit of a handbrake pull coming down that hill. Looking good down the hill. Gets through the next outer zone, through that inside clip, getting right to that track edge on that outer zone, transitioning once, now back again. Keeping a nice arc through that outer zone. Down to the next one, looking good, holding it a great line, putting the car where it needs to be. Last outer zone. These guys, this is going to be a year. This is going to be a year already.
Wow, what a way to start things off. Both of these first two drivers, we've got a 94 on the board already. Victor Lachera's 91.3, and we've got Ryan Littoral at the line, ready to go for his first run of the season, Season 8. I can't believe it. Here we go. Throwing that S15 in, looking great. Tons of angle there coming down the hill. Does take some of that rumble strip, continuing on. Stays off of it there. Tons of angle through this Manji section. Looking good down into 7 and clip 8. Filling that zone all the way around. Ryan Littoral looking good here for the first run of the season. And across that finish line.
Wow, Ryan Littoral really shaping up from last year there and able to get some good points on the board. Looking solid in the car too, and a 91.7 for Ryan Littoral. So just beating out Victor Lachera. What a great way to come into the first season, or the second season for him, but you know what I mean here. Samuel Cuddy at the line in the BMW, heading down to start its qualifying run. Down the hill, keeping it in the box, transitioning. Lots of speed, but keeps it together with that angle through that inside clip and the next outer zone. Now for the little Manji section. Looking good. Could just be a little bit on those other few outside zones. But overall, doing a very good job here in practice. Puts it right to that edge and crosses that line.
Dude, look at him go. Samuel Cuddy for his first run. We've got nothing but 90s on the board so far. 91.3, Samuel Cuddy. Next. What are they doing?
Here we go. Knows.
Alexander Element at the line. Can he keep the streak going in the Ferrari? Entering in. Leaves that track edge a little bit, but filling that zone nicely all the way down that hill. Good transition across. Small bobble there, maybe a little too far on the inside as well. They need to stay off that rumble there for that inside clip, but looking good through these outside zones. Nice and smooth on the throttle as well. Good on his angle here. That last and final transition, and there we go. Another run on the board. Alexander Element. Will it be a 90?
It is so close, but it is an 89 for Alexander Element, but still close enough to a 90 for me. As we have Abdulrahman Al-Shetwi at the line in the RX-8. He is forfeiting that run, so it looks like we're moving over to Augusto. Augusto Freire at the line now in the Toyota Supra. And down initiates in. He's looking good in practice. Let's see if he keeps it up, dropping a tire there in that first outside zone, getting up on those rumble strips. He's carrying a lot of speed, but getting through it and managing it with that angle. Getting through the next outer zone. Starting to really clean up the run now. Maybe gets, there he goes, out to that outer edge. Maybe dropping a little bit of tire there, but holding it together. And overall, not a bad run there from Augusto.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Now, I know Augusto was having some issues with his VR. There's a 82.3 on the board for Augusto. And I'm pretty sure he had to switch back to a screen. He might have gotten his VR headset working, but not sure. Maybe we'll have to check up on him for that later. Darius Ostraka for his first run of the season. And look at there, right on the track edge. Does leave it just a little bit. Continuing on, nice transition for outside two. And that inside clip, keeping things going. Look at there, right on that track edge. As he continues through this course. Good flow to his run here, right on these edges. Nice and smooth through 8. That's some final turn here. And across that finish line, Darius Ostraka.
Yeah, very nice run there from Darius Ostraka. Really putting the car exactly where it needed to be. And the score does show for that, as he also gets a 94.7, matching Daniel from the very first run.
Yeah, I mean, clinical.
Absolutely. With Anton at the line. And the last of the first runs until we move into the second runs. That light is on and off he goes. See what Anton can do for us here. Initiates in right along that track edge. Holds it down the hill. Lots of angle down that hill. Transitions and looking good through the next 3 clips. Pushing out to that track edge, wanting to be right on it. And he does stick right to it. That was really nicely done through there. Comes into clip 8. Transitions one more time. Leaving a bit of room there on that final outer zone. But not a bad first run to get points on the board.
No, it wasn't. Anton Kozlov rounding out Group 1. And we're back around to the front. 85.7 for Anton. And here's Daniel Andreev for his second run. Nicely again is Daniel. Holds the angle all the way through that zone. Nice snappy transition. And some as well. Daniel Andreev looking good. Tiny bit of a dirt drop there. I mean, just ever so slightly. Continuing on. Will this beat the 94.7 that he already has? Daniel Andreev coming out swinging for round 1.
Wow. Just that little bit of a drop, that little poof of dirt. And there it is, coming in with a 92.7 for his second run, with Victor Lacheris at the line, already sitting on a 91.3. Can Victor improve? Let's find out as he initiates in, grabs a little bit of e-brake, gets back on throttle. Down that hill, lots of angle for that transition, and makes it work. Nicely done through the inside clip, pushing all the way out, just touching that white line. Little bit of a tire drop there for Victor Lacheris as well. Then going a bit off course into that outer clip before clip 8, or outer zone 8, sorry. Making the transition once again, putting it out there, leaving a little bit of room on that final outer zone as well. We'll see how that impacts its score.
And an 84.7. So falling shy of his first run, but he still has that first run. 91.3. We're back to Ryan Littoral for his second run. 91.7 for his first. There he is, entering in. Really nicely done. Ooh, maybe a little bit of over angle there coming down that hill. Loses some of that rear grip back out from under him. But continuing on, a nice run anyway. Filling that zone. And throwing it in. Nice and smooth with the transitions. And there he goes across that finish line. So might not beat the 91.7. But a good run overall.
Yeah, it was an 84.3 for Ryan Littoral's second run. Again, it just looked like the car kind of stalled coming off the hill there, and he had to kind of force it to rotate. But his second score is locked in as we move over to Samuel Cuddy, sitting on that 91.3, throwing it down the hill in that BMW off that initiation. Transitions to that inside clip, getting it nicely, pushing out to the outer zone, but didn't fill it just quite, didn't get quite to that white line. But making up for it in these other outer zones. Transitioning to outer zone 8. Looking good. A little correction there with the wheels. Maybe not filling these zones almost as much as he could be, but playing it a bit safe maybe.
Yeah, a little bit on the safe side there. It didn't look like he was, maybe going after finishing or higher with that 91. But he still has a 91 on the board nonetheless. 91.3. We're back around to Alexander Element. 89 on the board for him. He's going to throw that big Ferrari in. Pick up throttle early. Holds that zone. Smoother there through that second turn. All the way out to that track edge. Continuing on. A little hesitant there in that outside zone through that transition. But continuing on, nice and smooth here in this big Ferrari. Right up on that track edge and across that finish line. Alexander Element trying to better that 89. See if that's enough.
Yeah, Alexander looking a little more dialed in there that time, and his score proves it with a 93. Now, if VDC on a 0, he has a 1 and run done. Alshetwi initiates in. Down that hill, he's got to make everything count for this run. Tons of angle down that hill in that RX-8, pushing out to that track edge, transitioning to the next outer zone. Looking good so far, putting down a solid run as he transitions into outer zone 8. Has to get off throttle there just a little bit longer, and he picks it up a little bit later. That might hurt his score, but he's got to make this run count. So there it is, a 90.3 for Abdulrahman Alshetwi. Moving over to Augusto Ferreira. Going for his second run, dropping 2 tires down that first whole outer zone. Huge snap transition coming down that off that hill through the next 3, pushing right out to that track edge. Transitioning once, then twice, trying to hold this run together. Dancing the car out to that outer edge, gets it though for that last clip, and now through clip 8 or outer zone 8, and pushing around the track, looking pretty interesting for Augusto's run there. Very punchy.
Yeah, it sure was, and it shows on the score 77.3. So yeah, I think he is maybe still struggling with the VR and having to switch back to that single screen. It's tough to do once you've gotten used to VR. But here's Darius Ostraka for run 2, 94.7 already on the board for Darius, and look at there, looking good for run 2 as he comes into outside zone 3 and 4, filling those nicely. Looking good all the way through this course so far. Nice and smooth transition. Picks up throttle on time for that outside zone. Continuing on. Last and final turn. And across that finish line.
Darius putting in that work. Will it be enough for that 94.7 to be beaten? Just shy, 92.3 for Darius Ostreka as we move on to our last run here of Group 1. Lots more still to come, but Anton sitting on that 85.7. That is a dangerous score if last year's anything to shake a stick at, so we'll see what Anton can throw down. Maybe get up there into at least that 90 zone. Initiates in, coming down that hill. Looking good right on the track edge, but does grab some rumble strips there. Hopefully that doesn't upset his run too much. About the second hash on that inside clip, having to leave the next outer zone a bit early, but makes it work. Now starting to push back out, regaining himself, getting that track edge. Another bobble there, just filling half of that zone. Coming into outer zone 8. Transitioning once more through 9 and push all the way out for 10. Let's hope that he can beat his 85.7 with that run.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be tough today, even with the extra 12 drivers that we're going to bring along into battles, all the way down to the 44th qualifier, but that's going to round it out. 84 on the board for Anton. There's Group 1 done. Daniel Andreev, 94.7, coming out swinging first run of the day. Darius Ostreka with his 94.7. Alexander Element with a 93. Ryan Literal with a 91.7. Samuel Cuddy, 91.3. Victor Lacheris with his 91.3. Anton down there in the 85.7, and Augusto 82.3 on the board. So we'll have to wait and see what that cutoff score is going to be like. Again, top 28 going to the top 32. 29 through 44th qualifiers go into the last 16 qualifying bracket, where they'll battle each other for those last 4 slots in the top 32. Just loading in Group 2 for qualifying. Group 1 out of the way.
Yeah, Group 1, I mean, what a way to bring an intro into this season. If the competition wasn't already close enough. I mean, Group 2, Group 3, and the rest of our drivers today do something like this. It's going to be crazy during battles.
Yeah, absolutely. And then with those last 16 qualifying battles, it should end up being a group of drivers that have all qualified pretty much the same score, which, I mean, top 32 is already almost, that way anyway. But a little bit tighter there from the 29th through 44th. It was always so close with drivers getting into the top 32 and where that cutoff score was. And we just, had a ton of drivers that were falling short by, 0.4 points and such. So I think an exciting change, and will give everybody the opportunity. We won't say everybody. Give more people the opportunity to experience some of these VDC battles and maybe warm them up for their top 32 battle. And then for us, who doesn't want to see more battles?
Exactly, right? That's what we're here for. We love them. Qualifying's great, but the battles, that's where it's at. That's what we love.
From those judges, Nick Hang coming to the line to start us out for Group 2. And new semaphore there by Joka Designing. He came in clutch with that just out of nowhere. Said, hey, guess what, guys? New semaphore. Here's Nick Hang. Down that first turn. And a little tight to the inside clip there. Grabbing that outside zone nicely though. That one as well through this Manji section. Right along that track edge. Keeping things going is Nick Hang. First saw him compete in the Drift Masters Virtual Championship. Did well there, and now here he is in the Virtual Drift Championship, getting his license from the wild card event at Manfield.
Yeah, and doing not bad for that run there. Nick Hang trying to hang it all out on the line, but ends up at 87.7 for their first run. Zam comes out. Their first run of qualifying down the hill. Good so far. Nick transitions back down, gets that inside clip, which is all the way out, grabbing that outer edge. Now transitioning through that Manji section, holding it together and looking good so far. Very little mistakes here as he pushes through. From Lazam.
Now seemed to maybe get a little bit of lag there through that transition as well, but still 92 on the board for Lazam, and we're
so it wasn't me.
No, it wasn't. Robert Kavinsky entering in nicely with this F22 here. Good transition across. Filling outer zone after outer zone here so far through this course. Robert super dialed. Continuing on. Very good competitor here in the Virtual Drift Championship. Did fantastic last season. And there he is across that finish line for his first run of Season 8.
Yeah, Robert there. A missile on the track, and his score shows it, a 95.7 for Robert. Absolutely amazing run there as we move to William Holloway's first run of qualifying. I think it's a new car here for William as well, PFD. Bringing it down the hill, transitioning, looking good. Lots of speed through there as well. That'll be enough to get him right to that outer edge. Transition through this Manji section, lots of angle for that transition. And making it work, putting it nicely on that line through outer zone 8. A little bobble there, just out of 8, maybe a tiny little tire drop. He pushes through the last 2 outer zones, and finishes out the run.
Yeah, looking good in the new car, William Holloway. 92.7 on the board, and yeah, third chassis I think he's in now. Started out with E92 if I remember right. Maybe went to an F22 after that as well. Then saw him join forces with Victor Alvarez throwing that car down the hill. Nice and snappy transition. Continuing on, using a little bit of foot brake to try and get all the way out there to the outside. Continuing on through the Manji section. Filling that zone. Coming down off the little bank. We're in a small little hiccup there into outside 7. Continuing on across that finish line. Victor Alves.
Yeah, Victor Alves, that small little hiccup that right out of outer zone 8 there, just didn't want to cooperate with him. Sadly, that score will be a 79.7. See what he can do on his second run. So we have the infamous Ethan Pikachu at the line. In that Nissan Z. See what they can lay down for their first run. Initiates in. Looking good so far. Doing a good job to fill that first outer zone. Transitions down the hill. Lots of speed. Gets right out to that track edge. Now let's see how he does through the Manji section. First and second one right on that line. Pushes out. Gets it nicely. Into outer zone 8. Through, making his way through. Looking nice and clean. Wheels just on those lock stops through that final turn. A very good run there from Ethan.
Yeah, Ethan looking good for his first run. 90.3 on the board for Ethan Pikachu. Steven Hatcher at the line. Ready to go for his first run of Season 8. Original driver with us from Season 1, Steven Hatcher, throwing the S2000 in. He leaves the outside zone, though, a bit. Continuing on nicely, though, down the hill, grabbing that inside clip all the way out to that track edge. Gets a little bit of a hiccup there. Might have been my end, though. Filling that zone. Nice and smooth is Steven Hatcher in the S2000, back in it for Season 8 and across the finish line.
Yeah, not a bad run there from Steven at all, and great to see him back in that S2000. That'll be a good little mark to go base off his second run with that 89.3. So very nice run for the first run of Season 8 for him. Stanislav now at the line. Another driver in that Ferrari initiates in. Doing a good job through outer zone 1, transitions down the hill, just touches those rumble strips, but nice job through that inside clip and pushing out to the outer zone. Doing well through the Manji section as well, gets it right on that line. Pushing through outer zone 8, this is looking to be a very clean run here from Stanislav. He pushes out to that final outer zone and finishes out the run.
Yeah, pretty good from Stanislav indeed. Wait for those judges' scores there on the board. 93.7. And we're down to Luciano to round out Group 2. Back in the Corvette, but no longer rotary powered. 2J powered this time around. As he continues on nicely through the course here. Looking good, nice and smooth in the Corvette. On the limiter there, pushing that car. Last and final transition. Fantastic run there from Luciano.
Luciano really swinging with that run there. Wait to see there, a 92 for the first run, so that's very good there from Luciano. As we move back over to Nick Hang, sitting on an 87.7. Let's see what Nick Hang can throw at us for his second run. Down the hill he comes, just leaving that line a little bit, but tons of speed down this hill, grabbing that inside clip, pushing, trying to push all the way out to that outer zone. Doesn't quite get to that line, but still is holding good angle and speed through the rest of this course here. As he comes into outer zone 8. Gets through it nice and clean. It's a good, clean run. Will be close enough to those edges to get the maximum score that is allowed.
And it's a 91 on the board for Nick Hang. We're back around to Lazam, currently sitting on his 92. And entering in on that track edge for turn 1. Does look like he is experiencing a little bit of lag there, but this run looking good so far. That was a little weird there as he continues on through the course. Nice and smooth transition. Belling that out and coming down off that little bank. That's a final turn. And completing the course once again, Lazam.
Yeah, Lazam with that little bit of lag, but I mean, it didn't hurt his first run, 92. Let's see what he put down for that second run. As the scores come in, he improves it by 1 point, getting a 93 for Lazam's second run. So we have Robert Kavinsky sitting at the line. Robert with that 95.7. Show him how it's done. Lay it all on the line for this run, Robert. Let's see it go. As he initiates in, coming through, down that hill, flying through the first few outer zones, down through that inside clip, pushing right out to the track edge. Robert really putting the car exactly where it needs to be. Coming into outer zone 8, right along that line, looking good. And barely any corrections in that wheel. Robert really knows how to put on just a jaw-dropping run. Going 94 for Robert Kavinsky for his second run, so 1 point shy. William Holloway on that 92.7. Down the hill. Transitions once into that outer zone through the inside clip, trying to grab that outer edge of the track and doing so in the Manji section here. Through outer zone 7, just touching that rumble strip, upsetting the car just a little bit. Has to correct for it, but makes it work as he comes through the final 2 clips, using that left foot brake to try and get to that outer edge. We'll see how the judges score that one.
Yeah, a bit of wobbles here and there throughout that run, and an 85.7 on the board, and we're back around to Victor Alvarez, currently sitting on a 79.7, so he'll want to better that as he throws the car in, and better indeed for run 2. Nice transition, but goes a little wide of inside clip, filling that next outside zone. Big angle there through the Manji section as he continues on. Down off the little bank. And the outside 7, filling it all around. Across that finish line, much better from Victor Alves.
Yeah, Victor really just kind of going, okay, no more play time, got to put the foot down, and ending out with an 89, so that will hopefully be enough to get him into the top 32, but that is way better than that 79.7 from his first run. Ethan, back at the line, heading down the straight, sitting on a 90.3, initiates along that track edge, drops it down the hill, looking good on the transition, lots of angle, going a bit wide on that inside clip, and maybe leaving the next outer zone a bit early, but holding it together and just putting it all out there as he gets through the next outer zone, down into outer zone 8, right along that line once again, putting the car where it needs to be. Tries to push out that track edge for the final time of qualifying for him.
Yeah, another good run for Ethan, 90.3 for his first run, and a 92.7 on the board for run 2. And we're back around to Stephen Hatcher at the line, ready to go. 89.3 on the board for him currently. And he's through the chicane. Entering in that S2000. Nice and smooth transition. Getting the first hash of that inside clip. And continuing on here. Pouring on the angle. And into that zone maybe a little early. He left the one before it slightly early as well, but fantastic run again. Indeed, Stephen Hatcher trying to better the 89.3.
And just going to come a little shy of that 89.3 than 87.7. Hopefully that 89.3 is enough to make him through. Stanislav with that 93.7. We'll see what they can lay down for their second run. Looking good down the hill. Maybe a little too wide, but made it work as they come down through that transition, that inside clip, putting the car right along that track edge. And not lifting at all as he comes into outer zone 8. That's a really solid run here by Stanislav. Really going for it on that second run.
Yeah, he was. He currently has a 93.7, already a really strong score, and then going after it there for his second one, but falling shy. 91 on the board. Luciano back in the Corvette, different motor. No more rotary Corvette. I think we're all a little sad, but 92 on the board anyway. Can he better it here with his second run? And qualifying. Brakes on fire as he continues on. Filling that outside zone. And looking good there for outside zone 7. All the way on the edge. All the way around it. Luciano across the finish line.
Now that was a way to end a group.
Yeah, look at there. 93.7 on the board for Luciano as we load in Group 3. Absolutely insane. These drivers are going nuts here for the first round of Season 8. And we cut their practice short this season as well. Before, we were giving them 2 full weeks to practice for each track. But instead, we knocked it down to a week. We even gave drivers a poll. They had a choice to choose 1 week for practice, or us released the track to them just 72 hours before the event. So on Wednesday, the drivers would get the track and a chance to practice for just those 3 days. And it was a very tight vote. We already let them know it's going to take a big majority to change, just the 1 week, and 1 week also gives us time as well to prepare for each round and make sure we got everything ready on our end with the judges, the track. There's a lot that goes into it. But it ended up being a 50-50 vote, almost split directly down the middle. It was a 1 vote difference, and that was for keeping just the 1 week of practice. So that's what drivers voted for, and that's what they got this season. And I'll tell you what, after releasing the track and joining into the practice servers and watching people drive it for the first time, I'd say within the hour we could have started the event, and we would have had just a fantastic event in front of us.
Well, I mean, these drivers are just such another level, and it's crazy to think a week of practice time or 2 weeks of practice time. I guarantee we could give these guys that 72-hour, and they'd still be throwing down runs like this.
Yeah, I don't think it would matter. I really don't. So yeah, we have plans for sometime in the future, maybe do a little one-off event with the drivers where we just here's the track, let's go, on the spot, and see how it goes. Maybe we could see something like that in the future as well. Bring it a little bit closer to a real world scenario. I gotta slow that down. Where in real competition you do not get a whole lot of laps. Before qualifying, say in FD, you're allowed 12, and that's it. And you're lucky to get those 12 before qualifying. So it's usually a lot less. You just got to show up, and you got to do it, and that is a super tough part of it. But it is part of it, and if there is a way we can, sort of sneak that in, I think that could be a cool change. But Brandon Gardner at the line, ready to go, driving for CFR, Chris Forsberg Racing, and throwing that all-new Nissan Z in, filling that outside zone at the bottom of the hill. Nicely done for the inside clip. Coming up a little bit late to outside 3, but looking good through the rest of the Manji section here. Filling that, coming down off the bank, nice and smooth transition into outside 7. Last and final turn here coming up. And across that finish line, Brandon Gardner.
Brandon Gardner coming out swinging for Group 3. Just went, all those other scores? Nah, they don't mean anything. Here's a 97. 97 for Brandon Gardner.
Yeah, new number 1 qualifier. That's going to be tough to beat, too. 97 on the board.
Well, still lots of drivers to try and challenge it, including this one at the line, Mustafa Amine in the RX-8. Go for their first run. Lighten those tires up all the way down the straight. Initiating in. Holding that angle nicely through that first outer zone, making the transition work. Doing a good job so far here. Lots of angle as he comes through that Manji section, trying to get that car right on the track edge. bashing that rotary limiter, the sounds we love to hear. Through that line he goes.
Yeah, tons of angle across the line there from Mustafa as he finishes out his first run. 91.7 on the board, though. Fantastic score. As we move on to Oliver Eppinger, longtime driver now, and has been in the Supra for a while. And throwing that car in, looking good down the hill. He transitions across, pouring on the angle, going a little wide of the inside clip, but he continues on through the Manji section. Good angle there, coming down off the hill. Or sort of flattens out here. Then you go up the bump for the last turn and back down the hill and across that finish line. Oliver Eppinger.
Oliver there, not a shabby job for his first run out, and an 88.7. Austin Zaleski at the line. And that 370Z initiates in. Looking good so far through that first outer zone, transitions down the hill. Holding lots of angle as he brings it right out to the track edge. Through the Manji section here, looking good on the transitions. Could have had the car just a tad deeper on that last Manji outer zone. Now coming through 8. Overall doing a great job here. Not many complaints, but wow, good run.
Yeah, Austin Zaleski looking good in the new chassis for him. And an 88.7 on the board as we move along to Christian Petrov. Turning back in his S15. And tossing that car in nicely, but a small correction there. A lot of foot brake through turn 1 and down into the inside clip. Filling that outside zone as he works through the course here. A lot of foot brake from Christian Petrov in his first qualifying run. Jumps off that zone just a little bit and then works back out to the outside. A little late on his transition, continues on and across that finish line. Christian Petrov.
Yeah, Christian there with a couple hiccups that he'll need to clean up for the second run. He comes in with that 86.7. Now at the line, Alan Hines. Pro Drift Academy driver. Alan Hines in that beautiful S14. Throwing it in. Looking good down the hill so far, making that transition work. Pushing out to that outer edge. Really going for it here is Alan. Doing good through outer zone 8, now down through the final 2 outer zones of this course. Alan Hines putting on a run.
Yeah, not bad from Alan Hines for his first run of the season. 94.7 on the board. As we move on to Alexander Yegard at the line, ready to go in his S13. Throwing that car in, super aggressive there for turn 1, almost 90 there, coming down the hill. Snappy transition as he continues on through the course here. Tons of angle there for the Manji section as well, utilizing that full 900 degrees through there. He picks up that throttle, filling outside 7. And continuing on across the finish line, Alexander Yegard for a strong run there.
Alexander Yegard saying, I paid for the lock stops, I'ma use the lock stops. What a run. 86.7 on the board for Alexander as we have Kazuki Fukushi at the line in what I believe to be a Toyota GR. Beautiful. I'm excited. Down through the initiation point he comes. Transitioning down the hill. Good through that inside clip. Pushes all the way out to that edge. Hate to see a Toyota GR here as he transitions once more. Little correction there coming into that outer zone. leaving outer zone 8 as well, just a little bit, trying to fight the car now to get it to do what he wants it to do, but still manages to finish that run. But 89.7 there for Kazuki Fukushi. Leaving for their first run of qualifying is Eduardo Alves. Whoa, way off track through that first outer zone. That might have been 3 off. It was hard to tell. Missing that inside clip completely. It's starting to fill these outer zones now. It's starting to settle down. Qualifying jitters. It'll happen to anyone. Got to finish it out and hope that they don't see that mistake at the beginning. It looked very close to 3 off, but gonna have some work to do on his second run of qualifying.
Yeah, it's a tough one there. Have to wait on those judges and how big of a deduction it's going to be. And look at their 65.3, unfortunately, on the board. We're going to move on to Brandon Williams. Returning to us, but new cars. Well, no, I believe he did end up switching to this towards the latter half of last season. So returning back in the S15 as he continues on with a nice run here. Filling that outside zone. Nice and smooth into this one. Small correction there, but he continues on a little late on the transition and across that finish line. Brandon Williams for his first run.
Always great to have Brandon around, even whether it's in a JZX or an S chassis. 91.7 on the board for Brandon. So we move to the last of the first runs here. Eric Kazierkas in the BMW. Initiates in, right along that track edge, looking good down the hill. Now to transition and make it work through that inside flip. Small adjustment in the wheel there, coming through the outer zone, trying to make this Manji section work, but keeping it as close to that track edge as humanly possible. Looking good so far. Ericus has one more outer zone and finishing out the first run of qualifying.
Yeah, I think down there at the bottom of that hill is going to hurt him quite a bit. When he picked up throttle, his car just really kind of lurched forward. Took him out of the angle that the car was gaining and shot him wide of the inside clip and then wide coming into that next outside zone. But here we go. Brandon Gardner at the line. 97 currently on the board for his first run. See if he can better it. It's going to be tough. But looking good through turn 1 down the hill. Filling the next outside zone. Nice. To the inside clip as he continues on right up on that track edge. Filling the next one, zone after zone. Brandon Gardner looking good here for run 2. Will it be better than the 97 that he already has? There he goes across that finish line. Brandon Gardner. Man.
Brandon. Where did this come from? 93.3 for his second run, which is absolutely crazy. What a great drive there. What a great qualifying for Brandon. Now, Mustafa Amane's second run sitting on that 91.7. Can he improve as they come down the hill? Looking good through that first outer zone. Good transition into that inside clip. Can he get all the way out to that track edge? Just barely. Made it out there as he transitions through the Manji section, leaving some room on that last outer zone. Now coming into outer zone 8, looking good, lots of angle, leaving outer zone 8, maybe dropping a tire there on that transition, but putting together a solid final qualifying run.
That was indeed 91.7 already on the board. Trying to better it, but does fall just a little shy. 88 on the board for Mustafa Oliver Eppinger. 88.7 currently on the board, and might want to better it. It's looking a little tough today with these qualifying scores, and these drivers are putting in exceptional runs as Oliver continues on in his super here. Tons of angle through the manji of the course there. Down the little hill. Good transition into outside 7. Last and final transition. And continuing on across that finish line. It'll be tough to beat that 88.7 that he already has on the board, but that might be enough.
Yeah, hopefully, and well, it is just by a couple points to 90.3 for Oliver Eppinger, bringing him up into that 90 zone. At the line is Austin Zaleski sitting on an 88.7. Another driver where, you see an 80 and you're even an 88 and you're kind of worried. So let's see if they can make up for it coming down that hill. Lots of speed through that inside clip, out to that outer zone, next outer zone, transition. Doing a good job here is Austin. Just slowly inching his way to that track edge each and every zone he goes through. 2 more to navigate here for Austin. Leaving a little bit of room on that last one, but overall not a bad run and hopefully enough to improve that 88.
Yeah, 88.7 for his first run. Will it be enough to bump him up a few spots? And it is a 91 on the board for Austin Zalewski. Christian Petrov back at the line, 86.7 on the board. And be another one to see where that cutoff is going to be for the 44th position today, as again, all the way down to 44 gets to see battles today. An extra 12 drivers as Christian Petrov continues on with his second run here. Good transition. Trying to better that 86.7. He might just do it with this run across that finish line. Christian Petrov.
Yeah, it is very close, but it did look a lot better than the first run. And the score does show for that. A 93 for Christian Petrov's second run. So very good job there. But already with a high score, 94.7, is this man here, Alan Hines. Alan Hines in that S14. Let's see what he can throw down for us along that track edge, leaving it just a little bit as he came down the hill. Now making that transition work and looking beautiful, doing it, pushing out to that track edge, transitioning through the Manji section. Looking good here. Alan Hines really trying to improve that score. He wants to be higher up, but leaves that outer zone. It comes into it just a little bit late, so that might hurt his final score there, but the rest of the run was very dialed in.
Yeah, it sure was. Again, 94.7 on the board and a 95.3. So it does just barely better that score, but bettering it, he does. Alexander Yegard back at the line, ready to go in his S13. 86.7 currently on the board, and look at that initiation. Super aggressive, full 90 down the hill. Nice and snappy. Goes a little wide of inside clip. Just a little bit behind that first hash. So he continues on here. Nice and smooth run from Alexander so far. So he picks up throttle on that track edge. And across that finish line, Alexander Yegard.
Yeah, Alexander again, paid for all the lock stops, wants to use all the lock stops. And again, and managing to improve his score while doing it to a 90.3. A lot of these drivers really improving on their second run. 89.7 sits with this man, Kazuki Fukushi, in the Toyota GR. Initiates in, trying to keep it as close to that track edge as he can as he comes down the hill. Transitions on those rumble strips, but makes it work through the inside clip. He pushes nicely out to the next outer zone through the Manji section here. Looking nice and solid. A little bump there. Hopefully it doesn't disrupt him too much, and it doesn't. Gets back on throttle nicely. Makes his way through the final 2 outer zones. Looking good from Kazuki.
Yeah, a little bit smoother than his first run, I believe. 89.7 that he currently has, but falling a little bit shy. 88.7 on the board, and we're back around to Eduardo Alves. 65.3 currently on the board, so wanting to better his run. As He throws that car in right along the track edge. A little tentative on picking that throttle up. Maybe a little late on that transition as he goes wide for inside clip, but grabs that next zone pretty nicely. As he transitions down the hill. Filling that next zone. Much better run here from Eduardo as he crosses that finish line.
Yeah, Eduardo getting the pre-qualifying jitters out of the way and coming home with an 88.7. Not bad at all. 91.7 sits this man, Brandon Williams. Let's see if they can improve or match. Brandon going for the second run of qualifying, sending it down that hill. Making the transition work through that inside clip. Nice and tight to that inside clip. Push all the way out for the next outer zone. Now to make the Manji section happen. Left a little bit of room there on that outer zone. Pushes all the way out for the next one. Coming up to there, dropping 2 tires off of that outer zone as well to the final 2. Making it work.
Brandon Williams coming in with an 85.7, so falling shy of his first run. So we move on to Erikas Yurkas, 83.7 for his first run. So he enters in nicely this time, down the hill. Good angle as he transitions. Completes that transition this time as he picks up that inside clip. Going just a little wide for the next outside zone, just barely touching that rumble strip. So he continues on down the little hill there through the bump. Smooth transition, much better here from Erikas as he crosses that finish line for his second run.
Erica's really showing out with that second run as well, and 94.7. Really improving that score and showing, oh yeah, right, this is how I drive, and coming back and remembering how to do it.
Absolutely, as that rounds out 3 groups of qualifying are done in the books. And look at there, Brandon Gardner sitting up top, 97 on the board, coming out swinging in that all-new Z. Robert Kevstensky right behind you with a 95.7, and Alan Hines in third with his 95.3. As we load in that next group of drivers. If you're just now joining us, we'll take another look at the line map. Start of the course at the top right of the screen. Small decel as those drivers initiate, and then back on throttle down that hill. And again, small, very small off throttle zone for clip 2 at the bottom of that hill as they transition across, and then pick up throttle to drive in for the inside clip, then continue on through that Manji section of the course down into clip 7. Small little bumps there as you come down off the hill and level out. Plateau for clip 8, your next small decel zone there. To continuing on, and last and final transition for clip 9 and 10. We'll take a small little break as we restart the server for the remaining groups of qualifying. We are back with more qualifying as we bring up those top scores. Brandon Gardner at the top, 97 on the board. Robert right behind him with a 95.7. Alan Hines with a 95.3. Marcus Lundquist up next for our fourth group of qualifying. There he is, taking his last and final practice run, as judges just gave that last call. Oh, seems like we might have a couple more waiting to connect. We don't want those drivers connecting in the middle of someone's run. We'll give them just a few extra minutes there. And we'll pull up what we will see later on, just minus the names. The last 16 qualifying battles later on here in this qualifying stream. Qualifiers 29 through 44 will earn a spot in that last 16 qualifying battles, and they'll battle it out for the last 4 positions of the top 32 that will happen later on today. So we've got Marcus at the line ready to go. Seems like everyone's connected. And lights are on. Marcus through the chicane. Returning back in that S13. Hot boyed up. Nicely done for turn 1 as he transitions. Gets a little hung up in it, but continues on filling that next outside zone. Nicely done through the Manji section. Down that little bump. Picking up throttle and a small bobble there, as he looks like he didn't have the angle that he wanted out of the car. And there he goes across the finish line.
Yeah, Marcus Lundquist. Every year we go, oh man, this car can't get more hot boy. And he shows us it could get more hot boy. As Marcus comes in with a 83 to start out Group 4. Something he'll want to improve on his next run. But this man here, last year's VDC champion, Zach O'Sullivan, coming to us in a new chassis in that S14, throwing it down the hill. Right out to that track edge. Zach took the season by storm last year and did very well in competition. But now it's a new season. Can he hold that title and go back to back? Let's see how his qualifying run goes. As qualifying runs do go, that was an impressive qualifying run. And a 97 for Zach O'Sullivan. Really going I'm still here to win this. Next up is Daniel Mora in that BMW. Little E30, initiating in. Holding up on that line. Little bobble coming out of that outer zone. Making the transition work and holding it together. Pushing way out. Dropping a little bit of dirt there off the transition through the Manji section. But getting out to the outer edge for the next outer zone. Pushing hard. And making the run work, but ooh, just a little shy there in that final outer zone comes Daniel Mora.
Yeah, other than that, nicely done from Daniel Mora. Starting the season off for himself there. For run 1, 89.3 on the board. Not too bad from Daniel Mora. Olivier at the line, ready to go for his first run of the season. Returning back in that S14 and throwing it in. Ooh, it goes a little deep for outside zone 1. Maybe the first person we've seen do it so far, and washing super wide for that second turn coming into that third outside zone. But he continues on trying to clean the run up. So he fills that zone nicely. Nice and smooth on his transition as well. Across the finish line.
Yeah, Olivier with that little bit of a hiccup at the beginning, but managing to make it work. 86.3, so not a shabby first score, but still gets a second run. As Ernestus Yakubulis, been a while since I've had to say your name, is at the line, ready to go. First run of qualifying, initiating in is Ernestus. Looking good so far at the top of the hill. Coming down into outer zone 2, diving for that inside clip. Not doing too shabby, keeping a nice arc. He comes into the Manji section. Trying to just put in a good, solid run here. Get points on the board. Doing well through outer zone 7 as well. Now through 8 and the final one. Ernestus looking good.
Yeah, looking pretty dialed in that S14. As he finishes out his first run of the season here, waiting on that score to come through. 92 on the board. Look at all the 90s so far today. All the way down to 24 so far. Cages with his first run, entering in. Filling outside 1. Very nicely there. Super snappy transition, but goes wide for the inside clip. Back down into the next outside zone. His car glistens through the track, picking up throttle. Last and final transition, going a little wide there and across that finish line.
Just full send down the hill, no lift, just we can make it work, and doesn't do too shabby with an 87.3 as we move over to Reese Tatterson. Alan Hines' teammate coming at us in that 370Z. Initiates in along that track edge and tries to hold it there through all of outer zone 1. Transitions down the hill, holding good angle and on a good line as well into the Manji section. Got to push out a little bit further, get on that track edge. There it is there. Making the transition to outer zone 7. Making it look good. Reese Tatterson coming out swinging for the first run of qualifying.
Yeah, and looking good. As always is Reese Tatterson. Now in that 370. We wait on a score to come through. And a 93.3 on the board for Reese. As Vicaris now at the line, ready to go through the chicane. And entering in. Looking good down the hill so far. Makes that transition. The bottom of the hill. Small bobbles there through that second turn, but filling the zone nonetheless. As he continues on through the Manji section. Much cleaner here now. Staying locked into that angle. Picking up throttle and jumping off the zone a bit. He's going to hang on to the outside line a little bit too long. Makes the transition late, but across that finish line is Vacaris.
Yeah, Vacaris with some spots he can clean up in the second run of qualifying, but still gets a good score on the board with that 87.7. Roman Katastrenka at the line now. Yeah, new car as well. An FD RX-7 for Roman. Initiates in, looking good right along that edge throughout all of Outer Zone 1. Huge transition down the hill. Just throwing it down. Coming a little shy there of that outer zone, but making it work through the Manji section, carrying a lot of wheel speed through here. He is really tearing through this course. He comes through outer zone 7 now, making the final transition. It's fast, but looks good as well.
Yeah, a couple of things here and there throughout that run from Roman, but 91.7 on the board nonetheless. Tikhon Pileski at the line, returning back to us in his S14. Back to the old livery. And going wide is Tikhon Pileski, falling off the back of the course there for turn 1 as he continues on through the Manji section of the course. Looks like he's got an interesting tune going on with it as well. That's some final transition. Tikhon across that finish line.
You say that with Tikhon, but you got to remember, the robot hasn't learned the AI line yet, so like that was just a trial run. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So next run, he's got it dialed in. Sitting on an 83 and sitting at the line, Marcus Lindquist in that beautiful 240SX and hits that cone big time.
Oh my God.
But makes it work. Now the cones here are made out of cement. They are solid objects, so don't hit them, they hurt. Down the hill he comes, missing out on that outer zone down the hill, but trying to make up for it through the next few clips here, dropping a bit of outer zones, dropping a bit of tire through the Manji section, making it work through outer zone 6, now into outer zone 7, trying to push, no bobble this time through 7, now through 8 and 9. But let's see how impacted his score will be through those couple little incidents at the beginning of the run.
Yeah, currently 83 and does better it with an 83.3. So we'll have to see if that's enough to get him on into the top 44 now. Zach O'Sullivan through the chicane for his second run of the day. 97 on the board currently. Flying down the hill. Fantastic transition there, picking up the inside clip right on the track edge. Last season's champion, throwing down here in the second run. First one as well. Still sitting on that 97. Is this enough to beat the 97 that he already has across the finish line? Zach O'Sullivan.
So if you needed a demo run of the course, there it is. Oh, wow. I'm waiting for that last score to come in. This is insane. Well, he improves it. The 97.8 for Zach O'Sullivan. And I'll let Craig answer this. Am I allowed to say what the line score was? Because that is insane.
Yeah, of course. What do you mean?
He got a 99 on his line score.
That's
insane. But not to take any credit away from this man doing his second run here on an 89.3. Daniel Mora in that BMW E30, who has been doing very well so far through the first half of the course. We have been watching. Do not worry. As he comes through outer zone 7 into outer zone 8, pushing all the way to that track edge to 9. And that actually looks like a very good second run there for Daniel Mora.
And Olivier off with his second run, 86.3. Might want to better it. We don't know how this last 16 qualifying is going to play out. and who's going to make it in and who's not. Last season, you needed pretty much a 90 to, solidify yourself into the top 32, which, I mean, even then, sometimes that wasn't enough. So 86.3 needs to better it, and he might just do it with that clean run.
Yeah, Olivier putting down a much cleaner run there, cleaning some spots up, and does improve his score by a little bit, an 88.7. Just to correct myself there from earlier where I said line score of 99, I meant that one of the judges gave him a 99, as all three judges look at all aspects and judge to 100. So one judge gave him a 99 score, almost a perfect score. As we have Ernestus coming down, sitting on at 92. Ernestus coming down that hill, putting it out to that track edge, transitioning nicely, and getting that inside clip, pushes all the way out, trying to get just shy of that track edge though, come through the Manji section, pushing hard here to maybe improve on that 92, not quite to the track edge there though for outer zone 6, making his way through outer zone 7, dropping a little bit of tire there through 8, and then holding it together through 9.
Yeah, looking good on that one as well. Ernestus with a 92 already on the board for run 1, trying to better it. 91.3, falling just shy of it, but a good score nonetheless. Cages at the line, ready to go for his second run. In the estate, throwing that minivan in, and falling off the track just a little bit there. Big deduction coming to his score for that in turn 1, but he's going to continue on here, filling these zones nicely. Still chance to make it into that last 16 qualifying battles. It's going to be close though. Currently 87.3, and I imagine that will fall a little shy.
Yeah, Cages there, not getting the points he wanted, but an 85.7 there for his second run as we move back over to Reese Tatterson sitting on that 93.3. We'll see what kind of run Reese can have for us this time around. Nice down the hill, just adjusting the angle right out of that box, but coming down looking good through the next few outer zones into the Manji section. Holding a good line, good angle right along that track edge as he transitions to outer zone 7, maybe coming into it a little bit late. Had to adjust for it and make up for it. Now hopefully has the wheel speed to make up those last 2 outer zones, and he does, finishing out that run.
Yeah, looking good. 93.3 on the first one. Nice and smooth from Reese, as always. 89.3 on the board. So he'll hang on to his 93. Vicaris up next. He does not have a -1 on his score. So he throws it in, and small hiccups there through turn 1 again for Vicaris. As he continues on. Looking good through the Manji section so far, right along that track edge. Small correction there to make it out to that outside zone. And then looking good for outside 7. And there he goes across that finish line.
As we wait for the scores to come in, Vicaris there ending up with a 91.3, improving on that 87.7. As we move to our second to last driver here of Group 4, Roman Kotostrenka in the FD, sitting on a 91.7. Lights are on, off he goes for his second run of qualifying. Initiates in, big flick initiation. Tries to hold it right to that track edge. Not quite there though, maybe missing out a little bit on that second outer zone as well. Tries to push all the way out to the edge for 3. Doesn't quite get it, not quite filling them. Maybe holding just a bit too much wheel speed. But coming into outer zone 7, does get through it nice and clean. Transitions for the final 2 outer zones. Definitely makes it work and puts a good score on the board.
And a 92 for Roman on the board. And here we go, back around to Tikhon Pileski. So we saw him wash out on turn 1. Much better here in run 2. Nice and smooth on the transition. Goes a little bit deep on inside clip. Taking some of that rumble strip with him. Drops a little bit of a tire there along the edge. Through the Manji section as well, as we saw some dirt pop up. Picking up throttle. And short lining that last and final outside zone is Tikhon Pileski as well. Tough to see and, you know, just odd, honestly.
Have we found the track that's broken the algorithm?
It does seem broken indeed. 88 on the board for Tikhon Pileski. Interesting to see from the champs there, as that's going to round out 4 groups of qualifying now here for round 1 at Portimao, as we load in our next group of qualifiers. Zach O'Sullivan currently on top with his 97 on the board. Brandon Gardner with his 97 as well. Robert with a 95.7 to round out top 3. Allen just behind him with his 95.3. And there we see 3 94.7s in a row. Luciano with a 93.7 to round out top 8. And again, remember, we've got the last 16 qualifying battles coming up after these. 29 through 44 get slotted into a top 16 bracket where they'll battle it out for the last 4 positions in the top 32.
I'm super excited to see those qualifying battles and really see how it kind of shakes things up and see who can maybe get in that just had a poor qualifying session and is able to make up for it in those qualifying battles.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way things are looking, it's going to be a bunch of people with like, you know, really high 80s, maybe even down into the 90s that will be in that 29 through 44. So still fantastic qualifying scores that they're putting in. It's just, you know, the ceiling here is humongous.
I don't know what these drivers did over the off season, but they went, oh, remember last year how everything was really tight and close? We're gonna make it harder.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. I mean, we tried, you know, taking away some of their practice time. They only have a week now instead of 2 weeks. Tried to give them 72 hours. Some wanted it, some didn't, but it wasn't enough to change that decision. So we're sticking with a full week of practice. Might try something in the off season where they don't get anything. It's just you know, like release the track maybe an hour or 2 hours before the event, and just go right on into it from there. Yeah, they're still here, just throwing down. And again, after releasing the track and being on the practice server and watching them, within the hour, they were doing 90-point qualifying runs.
Which is absolutely insane within an hour. But I mean, like you mentioned at the beginning of the stream, it'd be interesting to try and get it more to that real life where, you know, you maybe only get 12 laps of practice, if that, before jumping into, you know, qualifying. But again, with the way, you know, we are a world championship, some people's internet isn't as great as others, and that can come challenging if it's the day of and you got to download a bunch of stuff to try and hopefully have it all working.
Yeah, and then our argument too was, so if we release the track the day of, the people that qualify in the later groups, like Group 5 and Group 6, we're pretty deep into the live stream now, and all of that time, these drivers could have been, you know, practicing on their own and just putting in lap after lap for you know, a good hour or 2 hours before they have to join in, which when you're only talking, you know, a few laps of practice, or say just an hour or two, another 2 hours before you jump in is just, yeah.
Hard to, what's the word, moderate.
Yeah, it's you know, quite the advantage to the driver that gets to qualify later. And what we do each round as well is randomize the names and the qualifying order, to you know, try and mix things up with the order, and a lot of drivers, you know, feeling like judges haven't warmed up to the qualifying yet, so they want to go later. Some want to go before, and all that jazz. So, you know, we randomize it that way. So it'd be, you know, like a draw of the hat whether you qualify late and get 2 extra hours of qualifying. But here we go. Next group, Artem. Look at this, throwing that RX-7 into turn 1 as he comes down that hill. Nice and smooth transition, picking up that next inside clip. Continuing on, looking good here through the course, all the way to that track edge. And Artem Chalkov coming out swinging for his first run of the season.
Artem really laying it down there, kind of going, hey, remember what Zach did? I might be able to do that too, and coming in hot with a 95.3 to start out Group 6. At the line, ready to go for his first run of qualifying, Jordan El Nasser coming back to us in that Dodge Viper. See if the practice in the offseason has paid off, dropping a tire on the top of the hill there, coming down now, gets the transition, gets that inside clip, and pushes out. Doesn't quite make it to that track edge, but definitely is trying as he comes through the Manji section, pushing out. Little bobble there, just a little correction, trying to get out to that outer zone and get it as deep as possible, dropping a tire there in outer zone 7. Pushing hard, though, to keep any points on the board, and he will get some. Not a shabby first run.
Yeah, not too shabby. And he does go a little wide after the second to last outside zone, coming into the final one, going all the way out there a little too early. 81.3 on the board for Jordan. As we continue on with Deshaun Reeves. And his awesome Corvette here, throwing that thing in and looking good through turn 1 down the hill. Nice and smooth on the transition, picks up throttle quickly and grabs that inside clip, the next outside zone as well, right along that track edge in the Corvette. Down through the little bump. Once again, nice and smooth with these transitions in the Corvette here, handling the bump nicely and across that finish line.
Yeah, John doing a really good job there for the first time out. First time here at the VDC, so we'll see what kind of score he lays down for his very first qualifying run. We wait for one more score, and there it is, a 92.3 for John's very first run here, so very good to come out swinging like that and get up into the 90s. Gawain Ebanks coming back to us in that R35 with the new livery this year. Right along the track edge, down through outer zone 1, now through 2 towards that inside clip, holding a good line, pushing out to that outer edge through the Manji section 3 and 4. And out one more time, grabs that track edge before making the transition into outer zone 7. Gawain putting on a solid run here. Really able to make it work.
Yeah, Gawain has been practicing a lot in his GTR. And a 95 on the board for Gawain. So he gets slotted up in with the best of them there. Riley here with his first run. Nice and smooth through turn 1. Good transition as well. Riley looking good here in his first run in the Virtual Drift Championship. fully committed through this run as well as Riley. And there he goes across that finish line.
Yeah, Riley doing a very good job for the first round. We seem to have a lot of rookies in Group 5 here. 90.7 there for Riley is another new name, at least to me, is Cameron Mustard at the line in the R33. Well, he already gets bonus points for me, because, I mean, who doesn't love a good R33? Down the hill he comes. Looking good so far. Nice angle. Through, tries to get it up to that track edge. Transitions once, twice, looking good. Nice and solid for the first run out. Don't let those pre-qualifying nerves get to you. Just do what you came to do. Put the car in the right places. Push out to those track edges. And Cameron coming out strong.
Yeah, pretty good run for him indeed. 92 on the board for the rookie. So we've got Maxime on the line, ready to go. Returning in his S15. New livery for him this season. And entering in. A little tentative on the throttle there. So he makes this transition at the bottom of the hill. Small wobble through that inside clip. Continuing on nicely though. Through the Manji section. Picking up that throttle, staying along that track edge through that zone. Nicely done for 8. And across that finish line is Maxime.
Yeah, Maxime there, looking pretty dialed in, looking to get a good first qualifying run in, and he does with a 90 on the board. All of these drivers here, 90, 91, 92, 93. Absolutely insane. Masashi Yoshida. Now in a BMW this year. Doing a good job through outer zone 1, down that hill, quick transition. Could have been a bit deeper into that inside, or a bit closer on that inside clip, but makes it work as he pushes through the Manji section now, putting the car where it needs to be, right along that track edge for outer zone 6. Dives into 7. Looking good here, as he only has one more outer zone to navigate through. Masashi coming out strong for first qualifying run.
Yeah, looking good in the new car indeed. That new car for Yoshida is nice. And 95 is nice as well on the board for Masashi as we move on to Brandon Patrick returning in Pirello. And nicely done on the initiation and first turn down the hill. Comes up shallow and super inside on that inside clip as he continues on through the course here. Nice transition across, filling these outside zones. So he makes his way through that bump and into outside 7. Last and final transition. And across that finish line, Brandon Patrick.
Brandon there doing a good job on his first run of qualifying, and again getting into those 90s like a lot of others. 90.3 for Brandon Patrick's first run. So we have the last of the first runs here at the line, Pontus Jakobsen. Pontus in the FD and ready to go for the first run of qualifying. Great to see how many FDs are out there this year. Doing a good job through outer zone 1, transitions down the hill. Looking good so far, getting right out to that track edge through outer zone 3. Continuing to push on, a little bobble there coming into 6, but makes up for it and holds it together through outer zone 7. 2 more to go, putting the car where it needs to be. Pontus Jakobsen looking for a high score out of the gate.
And an 88 on the board. That is going to be super close to that 44th position cutoff today. Artem Chukov at the line, ready for his second run. We've made it around Group 5. Artem throwing his car in 95.3 for his first run, trying to better it. Looking good so far. Nice smooth transition down to the inside clip. Picking up that outside zone nicely. Good pace through the course is Artem. Nice and snappy, but a bobble nonetheless in outside 7 or clip 8. There he goes across that finish line. Artem Chokov trying to beat the 95.3. I think he's going to fall just a tad shy.
Yeah, that bobble coming into outside zone 7, that's going to hurt him. And there it is, a 90.3 for his second run, but a good second run nonetheless. Sitting on an 81.3 and definitely needs to improve. This man here, Jordan El Nasser in the Dodge Viper, initiates in but missing out on almost half of that first outer zone before finally getting it back in there, making the transition down the hill a little wide around that inside clip, but making that next outer zone work as he starts to come through the Manji section, not filling the zone completely and a little bit taking out his angle there through outer zone 6, on the throttle through outer zone 7, dropping a bit of tire there through 8. Overall, just a little bit of a shaky run.
Shaky indeed. 81.3 on the board, 78.7 for his second run. And Deshaun Reeves at the line, ready to go in his Corvette. 92.3 on the board for his first run. And entering in, leaves that zone just ever so slightly when he picks up throttle, but snappy transition at the bottom of the hill. Nicely done for the inside clip as he goes through the track edge for these next 2 outside zones. Nice transition. Nicely done through the bump as well. Super smooth through this run is Deshaun Reeves here. And across that finish line.
Yeah, Deshaun Reeves doing good work there and getting a 95 for his second run. A very good job there from Deshaun Reeves. We have Quayne Ebanks, who's also sitting on a 95, heading out for his second run. Initiates in right along that track edge on the initiation through outer zone 1, down the hill through outer zone 2. Quick and snappy transition. Could have been a little closer to that inside clip, but still makes it work the line that he is running. Putting that R35 on every track edge available into outer zone 7. Looking good through 7 as well. One more to go and across that line. Not a bad second run.
Yeah, not bad indeed. Really, as you pointed out, going wide for that inside clip and a 91.7 on the board. We're back to Riley. Riley, pull up a picture of a 90-point run for me. So he enters in down the hill, picking up that inside clip. Oh, and falling a little shy of that track edge in that next outside zone. Nicely done through the bump. Overall, just super smooth from another rookie here in this group across that finish line.
Yeah, Riley doing very good on that one. There are a couple places he could have improved, but almost played it a little bit safe, but gets a good score there of another 90.3. So you ask and you shall receive, Craig. 90.3 for his second run. And now for another rookie, Cameron Mustard, sitting on a 92. Initiates in. Looks good along that track edge through outer zone 1, down the hill through 2, right along that edge of the track through the inside clip and holding it together beautifully here in the Manji section. Lots of wheel speed, little correction there through 6, but makes it work here through outer zone 7. Cameron is putting on a good run here to finish things off for his second run of qualifying.
Yeah, already sitting on the 92. Is that going to be enough? No, it's going to fall just a little shy. 90.3 on the board. So hang on to his 92. So we move back around to Maxime for his second run. Currently sitting on the 90. Entering in. Full 90 there and coming down the hill. Looking smooth here through the course so far. Nicely done through that Manji section. Down the hill through the bump. Picking up throttle on time for that zone. Doing everything he kind of should right now. All the way out to the track edge. Maxime Tingai doing well in his second run.
Yeah, Maxime doing really well on that second run, even with a little bit of a wheel correction coming out of outer zone 7, and that still lands him an improvement on his score with a 93.7 for Maxime, as we have Masashi Yoshida back at the line, sitting on a 95. And a new car for this season initiates in. Nicely done along that track edge through outer zone 1. Down the hill, fast transition through that inside clip, looking good as he pushes all the way out to that track edge. Through clip 3 and 4 as well. Little shy there on clip 5, but makes it through 6 and down into 7. Putting it on the line there for outer zone 7. Through outside zone 8 and 9, Masashi throwing down in that BMW.
Yeah, dang. Nicely done indeed. Already had the 95 on the board. And falls shy, but 90.3 on the board nonetheless. That's still a super strong score. So we move around to Brandon Patrick for his second run. Throwing that big Ferrari in and looking good down the hill. As he makes his first transition. Goes a little wide of inside clip. He continues on here. Right along that track edge. For those two outside zones. Nicely done on the transition as well, leaving that outside when he should, making that transition on time, and filling that last and final outside zone.
Hopefully enough to improve that 90.3 that he's sitting on. Bump him up a couple extra points as we wait for those scores to come in. There's 1, there's 2. Ooh, and a big improvement from Brandon, 95 for his second run. So that's a very good point jump. So we move to our last driver of Group 5 and our last run of Group 5 before we move over to Group 6. Sitting on an 88, Pontus Jakobsen, initiating it in that FD, trying to get it all the way out to that track edge on the initiation. A little late on the transition into outer zone 2. Gets through it though and puts it on the track edge for outer zone 3, coming through 4 and 5. Maybe a little bit of a tire drop there past that line. Through outer zone 6, now through 7. Pontus doing a good job trying to improve that score, but will that run be enough?
Just my 88 for his first run and an 86, so falling a little shy as we round out Group 5. Last and final group, loading in now, Group 6. And I believe that makes it everybody that submitted a car for round 1 showed up to round 1 today.
Which is absolutely insane. I mean, it's great. But just to know that every single driver that submitted a car is here really shows that everyone wants to fight for a potential shot in this championship.
Absolutely, indeed. Everyone showing up and showing out. These scores have been insane today, as we just saw there. If we were just doing a top 32 right now, you would need a 91 to make it into the top 32. But instead, we're doing the last 16 qualifying battles. So the top 28 will be locked into the top 32. 29 through 44 will battle it out for those last 4 positions in the top 32. It's going to be exciting. We're going to do it right after this last and final group. Maybe take a small little break, grab some snacks, grab your drinks, and then get ready for some crazy battles. We'll do the top 16 battles of the last qualifying battles, and then the top 8 of that bracket. And then those 4 will earn the 29th through 32nd seeded positions in the top 32 based on their qualifying scores. So there's no need to do the final 4 and the finals and the third place battle. We can end it there and move right on into the top 32. In between those, we'll take maybe an hour break. Go grab some lunch or dinner or breakfast wherever you're at in the world, and we'll come back for the top 32 in its own separate stream. And thank you everyone for tuning in today. I wonder how many of you have been watching from the beginning. Maybe comment when you started watching the Virtual Drift Championship. This is season 8 now. We started 2016. It's been a while.
It's been a crazy long time. It's hard to believe it's been this long already. I was telling Craig right before stream, you know, it's almost been 10 years.
Don't say it out loud. And here we go. Connor Falvey starting things off for the last and final group of qualifying for round 1, season 8. Nice and smooth transition, going really wide for inside clip though, and he's going to come up short of the next outside zone and the next one as well. You know, speaking with the judges, asked them what would be worse, dropping a little tire over the track edge and maybe onto the rumble strip a little bit, or just halfway filling a zone. And it was indeed halfway filling a zone was worse than just dropping just a tiny little bit of tire along the track edge. And there it shows 83 on the board for Connor.
Yeah, Connor gonna have to try again in the second run of qualifying, as we have Danelius here for their first run of qualifying. Down the hill they come through that first outer zone, looking good, carrying lots of speed through that inside clip, pushing all the way out to that outer zone, through 4 and 5 now, holding a good line. Little hesitation there coming into 6, but doesn't affect them too much as they come through outer zone 7. And now through 8, pushing hard, try and get a decent score on that board.
A good run indeed. And look at there, another 91 on the board for Danielis. Here we go with Andreas, another long-term Virtual Drift Championship driver, looking good here in the Super, returning for it, or with it, I believe the 3rd season in a row now he's been driving the Super. It might be the 2nd, but I'm pretty sure it's the 3rd now, filling these outside zones. Nicely done through the bump there, picking up throttle, jumping off that zone just a little bit, but works back out to the outside and across that finish line.
Andreas there with not too shabby of a first run. Should hopefully get him a pretty decent score of an 89.3, so he's going to have to work a little bit on the second run there, but there's always those qualifying battles that we spoke of earlier. At the line, Abdulaziz Al-Harbi, ready to make it work in the GT86. Through the gates clean. Initiating in. Right along that track line. Can he hold it there? Just comes a little off it, but nothing crazy as he transitions down the hill through that inside clip and pushing out to the track edge for outer zone 3. Through 4, could have been a bit deeper on it, but making it work with that GT86. Throwing it into outer zone 7. Holding a good line and angle through it. One last outer zone to navigate, came in a little late, but makes it work.
And not bad indeed, 89.3 on the board. Juan Paula coming up for his first run of the Virtual Drift Championship here, rookie. Coming to us from EDN. And looking good here through his first run of the day. Nicely done for these outside zones. Staying smooth here throughout the course. Picking up throttle, jumping off of it a little bit. Yeah, leaving it a little early as he continues on and crosses that finish line.
Yeah, really had to make a correction there in outside zone 7, but still comes good with a good score, an 88.3, not bad. And then I believe another rookie here, Carlos Diogo, in that beautiful Liberty Walk S15. I got to see one of those in person this year, and they look absolutely amazing in person as he comes through that first outside zone down the hill. And looking good so far, Got to push all the way out to that track edge. That outer zone just comes a bit shy, but makes it work. Still collecting it. As he comes through outer zone 6 now, looking dialed in. Dropping a bit of tire there through outer zone 7. Holding it together. Not bad for the first run ever.
Yeah, not bad at all. We'll have to wait and see what the score is going to be. 88.7, and that is around where that cutoff is today. Marcel on the line through the chicane. Lights are on. And entering in nice and smooth here. Tons of angle down the hill. See, transitions across, filling the zone. And the inside clip comes up a little shy. That outside zone there, starting the Manji section off. He fills that next one. Nicely done over the bump as well, filling the zone. Nice and final one here. And across that finish line.
Yeah, Marcel with a very strong start there. Looking very good in a 92.7 for Marcel as we move over to Kevin Stump. Z. We kind of run Brandon, or sorry, Kevin can lay down. Same car. So they come down the hill. Looking good through outer zone 1 and even better through outer zone 2. Transitioning now through the Manji section and pushing out to outer zone 6. Looking clean through outer zone 7. One last transition and pushing through to the edge and the end of this track. We'll see what kind of run Kevin Stump laid down for us.
Yeah, pretty good run from Kevin there. And a 92 on the board. So we move on ahead with Ethan, another rookie driver. And doing nicely through turn 1 here as he makes that first transition, fills that next outside zone, continuing on right along that track edge. Staying smooth through the course here is Ethan. This beautiful S15. And there he goes across that finish line.
Yeah, Ethan actually very solid out of the gate there. He really came out and said, hey, I'm here to play with the big boys. And a 93.3 for his first qualifying run. We're back around to the top with Connor. Connor sitting on an 83, so gonna need to improve. Connor initiates in, puts it on the track edge, comes off it, but works his way back out it through outer zone 1, down the hill into outer zone 2. Lots of speed, but makes it work, but holds onto that left foot brake, which doesn't allow him to quite reach that outer zone 3. As he comes through the Manji section, just a couple zones, not filling them completely, into outer zone 7. Makes his way through it. 2 more to go. Push all the way out, and there you go, Connor. You've completed your second run of qualifying here with the Virtual Drift Championship.
And an 80 on the board, so I'm not sure we're going to see him in battles today, but that's all right. We've got 5 more rounds to go after this one. Danielis entering in nicely. Nicely done for turn 1. Good transition across, down to the inside clip. Coming off his 91 and looks to be improving on it here with his second run of the day. Down through the bump. And jumping off the zone just a little bit there when he picked up throttle, but staying in it this time and across that finish line.
Yeah, Danielis looking really good that time around. Really more dialed in, and the points show it. A 96 for the second run of Danielis. So very good job. Sitting on an 89.3 now is Andreas Linné at the line in that JZA90 Supra. See if he can improve his score on second run. Initiates in along that track edge and is holding onto it through outer zone 1. Transitions down the hill through outer zone 2. Little corrections in the wheel, almost missing out on that inside clip, trying to grab that next outer zone, falling a bit shy there of outer zone 4 as well. Now out to outer zone 6, making his way through it, starting to clean up the run just a little bit here, and hoping to improve on that 89.
Yeah, 89.3 for his first run. Will that be enough? It's going to be close. 86.7. He's going to fall just a little shy. We'll have to wait and see if that's going to be enough to make it on into that 44 position. Abdulaziz. Oh, Harvey looking good on initiation. Hangs on to that outside a little long there. Grabbing some of that rumble strip after the zone ends. Up onto it just a tad there as well. Yeah, small, teeny tiny little deductions, but they do end up adding up as you work your way through the course here, jumping off that just a little bit, but back to the outside in outside 7. Continuing on across the finish line is Abdulaziz Al Harbi.
Abdulaziz cleaning up the run a little bit there and managing to finish out with a score of a 91.3. As we move over to Joao. Joao Paula initiating in, sitting on an 88.3, looking good down the hill, but carrying it all the way out of the zone, transitioning and making it work into outer zone 2, driving outer zone 4 and 5 really nicely, pushing all the way out to 6. Now for the final transition, or second to last transition into outer zone 7, holding it clean. Now just got to finish the run. And not a bad second run there from Joao.
Yeah, not bad indeed. Trying to better the 88.3, kind of in the danger zone with that score. And an 86, so he's going to fall a little shy. Carlos at the line, ready to go. 88.7 again. It's sort of in that danger zone. See if he can better it. Been on the server practicing quite a bit. I've seen him in there, putting in that work before the round, and he's gonna wash wide of inside clip, picks up that next outside zone nicely as he continues on. And there we go, crossing the finish line for his second run of the season.
Yeah, definitely cleaning up from the first run there was Carlos, and putting in that work to make it happen. A 91.7 on the board. Very good there from Carlos as Marcel goes for their second run, already sitting on a 92.7. See what Marcel can do on the second run here, all the way out to that track edge through outer zone 1, down the hill through outer zone 2, grabbing that inside clip beautifully and making it all the way out for outer zone 3. Now through 4 and 5. Right on that track edge, Marcel really going for it here on the second run. Nice transition into outer zone 7. Marcel's on a tear here and looking good doing it.
Yeah, trying to better that 92.7. Really went after it. Look at there, a 95.7 on the board for Marcel. So we move along to Kevin Stump. So we work through these scores here on the left. We'll scroll down to that 44th position. See where the cutoff is. Kevin Stump coming up for his second run, sitting on the 92. Nice and smooth on the transition at the bottom of the hill, picking up that inside clip. Filling the zone nicely as well. Could be a tad deeper there. But he gets all the way to the edge for that one. Nice and smooth, picking up throttle. Tiny little bobble there through that outside zone. Good transition across. He's going to short line the last and final outside zone.
Yeah, that might hurt his score just a little bit, and it does with an 89.7 over his 92 for the first run. But sitting on a 93.3, this man here, Ethan Minima, ready to throw it down. Can you improve that 93.3? Mr. Rookie Driver, first time here in the VDC season. Looking good so far down the hill to outer zone 3, now through the Manji section, outer zone 4 and 5. Keeping it nice and clean through outer zone 7. Keeping on that throttle. Keeping the car exactly where it needs to be. Ethan doing very well here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's our last and final qualifier of the day.
And Ethan ending up improving his score there with a 94.7 overall.
Yeah, he certainly did. Jumped up the board, and there it is. Your full cutoff for the day is 44th position, 89.3. We'll see those drivers in the last 16 qualifying battles here shortly. Let's scroll back up to the very top. Look at our number one qualifiers. Zach O'Sullivan, 97.8. Brandon Gardner right behind him with a 97. Danielis, 96 on the board. Robert, 95.7. Marcel, rookie driver, 95.7 on the board. Alan Hines, 95.3. Artem coming out swinging as well, 95.3. And Deshaun Reeves, 95 for him as well, as some changes came through there. And Kawayne Ebanks rounding out the top 8 with a 95 on the board. We're going to take a small, we'll say maybe a 10-15 minute break while we get our last 16 bracket sorted, as we take a look there, as these names are not quite correct yet, but this is what the bracket will look like, and those final 4 will get slotted into the top 32. So stay with us. We'll take a small commercial break, go grab a drink, grab a snack, and we'll be right back with some battles here in qualifying.
Never tried, tell them all. Big dreams
right, and after some round one woes, we're here. We're back for the last 16 qualifying battles. We'll pull up the bracket and what it's going to look like here. Again, 29th through 44th qualifiers get slotted into this bracket, and the last remaining 4 here will move on to the top 32. So we'll stop after the top 8 battles with this bracket here. Those last 4 drivers, based on their qualifying scores, will get slotted into the 29th through 29th through 32nd positions in that top 32. So a lot on the line here in this bracket with these drivers. A lot of the scores are pretty much identical scores there. That will be facing each other today here in this last 16 qualifying battles. Something new, one of the biggest, I don't want to say complaints, but suggestions from the drivers was, there was just so many getting knocked out with 90-point runs. Again, it would have happened today if we were cutting it off at 32. A ton of drivers with 90-point qualifying runs would have been sent home, and that would have been the end of their day. But instead, they're here with us. They're going to battle it out, and we'll see who moves on into the top 32. Super exciting. If you're just now joining us and missed out on that qualifying, here is your line map starting at the top of the screen. Top right, small decel zone on initiation, and you continue on down that hill. A small off throttle point at clip 2, but you'll continue on throttle all the way down into clip 8, your next decel zone for that long outside zone out there. No wall there. It's track edge is 100-point score really everywhere here. The track edge, lead needs to stay off the rumble strips on the outside and the inside. If they drop on them, it is a small deduction depending on how deep they go off and the duration for which they are off course. But we'll go to the start line here. Carlos at the line, ready to go here. We'll pull up the battles for the first time.
Yeah, here we are at the line, ready to go. Carlos Diogo in that lead position with Kazuki Fukushi ready to chase him down in that Toyota GR. They get out of the gate clean, and initiating in is Diogo with Fukushi right there with them as they come up over outer zone 1. Fukushi struggling to match that angle through outer zone 1, but still keeping a good proximity as they come through that inside clip and push through this Manji section. Fukushi doing a good job at keeping that pressure on the rookie, but the rookie not wavering away as they come through outer zone 7 now, or outer zone 7 through 8, and then to the finals of 9. Fukushi right on the door of Carlos.
Yeah, let's take another look at it for the first time today. As we go back to the replay, we'll have to figure out what's going on with the names there as Carlos makes his way down the hill here. Kazuki giving chase, trying to stay with him. Carlos pouring on the angle, coming up a little shy of that outside zone there as he continues on. Makes a nice transition back to the outside edge of that track. Kazuki reeling him in, trying to stay with him. Doing a good job though. Last and final turn and across that finish line.
Well, back around up at the start gate, we now have them switched around. Kazuki Fukushi now in the lead lane with Carlos ready to chase him down to see who will advance to that top 8. Light goes green. Fukushi gets away good. Carlos right there with them as they initiate in, almost grazing that bumper. Carlos is right on the door, pushing, maybe push Fukushi a little wide there at the end of outer zone 1 as they come down the hill into outer zone 3. Carlos just trying to keep it as close to the door as Fukushi as possible through this Manji section. Now able to get a bit of breathing room. Fukushi transitions into outer zone 7. Carlos still trying to keep as close as possible, giving up some room and then taking it back, but finishing side by side across that finish line.
And I thought we were going to run into this. This is going to be a tough one to call, I think, amongst these judges. Now, Carlos really putting on the pressure there and maybe bumping Kazuki a little wide for outside zone 1. It's tough to see. We'll wait on what the judges have to say about whether, you know, there was contact and enough to push Kazuki off course. But they continue on. And the rest of the run is kind of similar until there. We see a big straighten in that chase position from Carlos before coming into outside 7 or clip 8, and there they go across that finish line. We will pull up the judges graphic here and wait for them to slide left or right. Again, just you know, maybe a tough one to call here. And look at there. Kazuki Fukushi gets the win over Carlos and will move on into the last 8.
Good job from Kazuki indeed. I believe that may have came down to that, what we saw there on the chase position where he kind of got too aggressive into turn 1. But at the line now, Victor Lacheris in that lead lane. Beside him, Daniel Mora in that BMW. Ready to see who's going to advance on. The light goes on and off they go through the gate clean. Victor initiates in, but Daniel right there with him as they come up over turn 1. Nice proximity through that first outer zone, down the hill into the transition. Victor keeping the car where it needs to be, and Daniel just fighting for that door as they come through the Manji section, leaving barely any breathing room through outer zone 6. Now into 7. Daniel really on the push, but a little bobble from that chase position, which gave him Victor a little bit more room there as they come across the line.
Yeah, nicely done between the two. We'll take another look at it here on the replay here. Entering in is Victor right along that track edge, doing it nice in the first turn down into the second one, grabs that inside clip. You see Daniel fighting his car back there in that chase position, but staying with him right along the bumper through the transition. Tucks up into the pocket there, right along the bumper again is Daniel in the chase, but he does fall off a little bit there in that outside zone. Super tough outside zone, and there they go across the finish line for the first half of their battle.
Yeah, overall, not a bad job by these drivers, but they're back around for the second half of their battle. Daniel Mora taking his place there in the lead position. And in the chase, Victor Alves ready to chase him down. Or sorry, Victor Lacheris ready to chase him down. The light goes on and off they go for the second half of their battle. Daniel Mora lighting up those tires down the straight, initiates in, but Victor right there hitting him off track. Oh no, Victor going a little too hard there off the initiation, pushing Daniel Mora off. Sadly, I think this is going to be Daniel Mora's win.
Yeah, it just might be as they cross that finish line. Let's take another look at it on the replay here. Daniel on the car, and he picks up throttle on time. It really doesn't even have a ton of angle either, so it does look like Victor just coming in a little bit too hot there, hitting Daniel off the track. Daniel somehow keeps things going and they trade positions, ending up finishing the run anyway. We'll have to, wait on the judges regardless to see how they see it. And we'll pull up that graphic there. Victor on the left, Daniel on the right. Winner moves on into the last 8. Again, where they'll battle it out for the last 4 remaining spots in the top 32. Something new and different, and I think I like it already.
I think so too. It's a lot of fun.
And look at there. Yeah, Daniel Mora, he's going to get the win unanimously from all 3 judges. And we'll see him in the last 8.
Sure will. Up against Kazuki Fukushi will Daniel Mora face. But at the line now is our next battle. Ryan Littoral in the S15 in the lead position up against Oliver Eppinger in that Toyota Supra. The lights go on and the battle's underway. Ryan Littoral with a flick initiation there, but Oliver right there with him as they come down outer zone 1 and transition down the hill. through outer zone 2. Oliver, who lost some ground on the transition, manages to make up for it now in the Manji section. Coming through to outer zone 6, Oliver's doing a good job of just keeping a good proximity, not getting too close, but not getting too far away, just keeping it right there in the pocket and really sticking it to the door of Ryan Literal.
I was muted all through that replay, but they're back in the line, ready to go, Tanner.
Yeah, we heard you in spirit. It's okay, Craig. We all could hear that voice. We love to hear it.
It was good too, I promise.
Best commentary of the year. It was so good we couldn't even get to listen to it. So here we go. Oliver Eppinger at the line, now in the lead position with Ryan Literal ready to chase him down. Coming flying out of the gate was Oliver Eppinger, and Ryan Literal going 2 off on that first outer zone. He's going to have a lot of work to do to make back up for it. Oliver Eppinger came flying out of the gate there to try and just put some distance, but now Ryan Literal back in the pocket and now on the door of Oliver Eppinger, just trying to get as close as possible to make up for that mistake at the beginning of the run and finishes out side by side.
Yeah, an interesting one to see there. We'll take another look at it on the replay. Out the gate quickly is Oliver, and just a huge gap in the run up there, and it leads to Ryan entering in maybe a little late. Continuing off course in turn 1, but Ryan doing a good job to reel him back in. I really thought Oliver played it quite safe in his chase position. Sure, he did everything he was supposed to do in that chase position as far as line and angle and stuff, but just really didn't put the pressure on Ryan and kind of left the door open for Ryan to close that gap and apply some pressure. But unfortunately, Ryan, and he left off the start there. We'll go to the judges. Ryan Literal on the left, Oliver Eppinger on the right. We make sure Oliver didn't jump as well. But no, there it is. Unanimous decision. Oliver Eppinger gets the win and moves on into the last 8.
Well, now for the one side of this bracket to be completed with this battle here. Abdulaziz Al Harbi in the lead lane in that GT86, being chased down by Riley Sobush in that S15. Put the little green things over the headlights, makes it look like a kooky. Anyways, initiating in is Al Harbi, and looking good, falling off of that outside zone though, but making up for it. Riley just laying on the attack, just putting that wheel on the door as they transition into the Manji zone through outer zone 4-5, now into 6. A little tap there from the chase of Riley, letting Abdulaziz know he is there. A couple bobbles from that chase position as well. They finish out that first half of the battle.
Yeah, they certainly do. We'll go to the replay. Abdulaziz out front, leading Riley Sobush through the course and doing so nicely, but he does jump off that zone quite a bit after initiation. As soon as he picks up throttle, car lurches forward out of the zone and then has to work it back to the outside, out front in that lead position. Maybe throwing Riley off a little bit, but Riley right there with him in the pocket, coming down off the little hill and through the bump into outside 7. Nice and final transition, applying some pressure there in that chase and across the finish line.
Well, back around at the start gate. They're just getting turned around now. Riley Sobush will now lead this run, with Abdulaziz chasing him down. The lights go on. The second half of this battle is underway. Riley gets through the start gate clean and initiates in. Looking good off the initiation, pulling away there from Abdulaziz through outer zone 1. Abdul manages to make up for it down the hill, though, as they come into outer zone 3. Now into the Manji section of 4 and 5. Abdulaziz keeping the car where it needs to be. Oh, and a big contact there coming into outer zone 6. Abdulaziz trying to surge forward and get back that proximity that he was losing. Just took a little too much of it and ended up hitting Riley, but luckily enough, wasn't enough to upset them, and they still finish out the run clean.
Yeah, they certainly do. We'll take another look at it here. Riley getting out to a good start in that lead position, filling all that outside zone as well. Nice and smooth on the transition, holds the angle pretty well. A couple of little bobbles here and there throughout that second turn, but overall smooth indeed. Continuing on, and you see a little bump there from Abdulaziz, applying the pressure. Maybe even another one there. It's really close through that outside zone. Last and final turn, and across the finish line. And here we go to those judges. Abdulaziz on the left, Riley on the right. Winner moves on into the last 8. And it looks like it's going to be Abdulaziz. Abdulaziz applying that pressure nicely in that chase position and getting the win here.
Yep, it's now confirmed. I'm happy we did this. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, same. And listening in on with the judges and them explaining it to the drivers there, that little bump from Abdulaziz, they actually went with a shared fault there. Riley was kind of leaning in on his left foot brake throughout that portion of the course, and then Abdulaziz was coming in a little bit shallow on his angle. So, you know, it was kind of null with that little bit of contact there across that bump.
I think we're just waiting for the last of the drivers to load in here, and then we can get started with the second half of this bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. Already through one half of the bracket, as you see there up on your screen. Kazuki moving forward. He'll face Daniel Mora in the last 8. Oliver Eppinger and Abdulaziz Al Harbi moving on as well, and they'll face each other in the last 8. So, getting interesting already. Kazuki, 44th qualifier, taking out the 29th. So Carlos, unfortunately getting knocked out, would have had a position in that top 32, but had to battle somebody that, you know, again, had a extremely similar qualifying score. But Kazuki comes out on top in battles and moves on.
Yeah, and that's just the joys of doing it this way. You know, you're giving some extra people who maybe, again, just had the qualifying nerves, the shakes, and didn't get the run I wanted, but at least now they get that second chance to get in there and actually make the event happen.
Absolutely.
So at the line now, Mustafa Amine, the battle of the rotaries here. Mustafa Amine in the lead position up against Abdulrahman Al-Shetwi in the chase position. Lights go on, and here we go. Mustafa initiating in, but Al-Shetwi right there with him as they come through outer zone 1 and transition down the hill along the bumper. Al-Shetwi really putting on the pressure through that inside clip into the third outer zone, and just keeping that pressure on through the Manji section. But a good job out front here by Mustafa, putting that car exactly where it needs to go, making the chase's job a little more predictable and easier to do as they come through the finish line side by side.
Yeah, they certainly do. We'll take a look at it here. It's funny, these teammates having to go against each other here in the last 16. There they go, down the first turn. Nice and smooth on the transitions. Looking good here. Mustafa pouring on all the angle out front in his lead position here. And Abdulaziz, you know, now is matching it well, but in the first half of the course, really struggled to match that angle, sacrifice some of it to maybe stay with Mustafa out front. But a good start to the battle nonetheless.
Yeah, Abdulrahman doing a very good job there. But now we get to see what his lead run's like. So Abdulrahman Al-Shatwi out front. Mustafa Amine now going to chase him down. They couldn't battle in the top 32 or the 16 or the 8 or the finals, but they're here trying to get their spot in for qualifying. Initiating in out front is Al-Shatwi, doing a good job out front. Mustafa matching that angle all the way through outer zone 1, and down the hill they come through into the Manji section. Mustafa again right along the bumper through that Manji section. It's like seeing the last run, but in reverse. It is wicked as they come through outer zone 7. Abdulrahman doing everything he needs to do out front, and Amine just making that push. What a battle between these two.
Yeah, teammates going at it here as we take another look. Late camera change here on initiation, but we get to see the latter half there. Look at that matched in angle between the two going down the hill. Mustafa out front and kind of pulled a little bit of a gap on his teammate there in that chase position. Excuse me, Abdulrahman out front, leaving him behind a little bit through the first half of the course. They make that last and final transition, and across that finish line, we'll go to the judges between these two teammates here in the last 16, who will move on and have a chance at making it into the top 32.
It does make it hard when both cars look the exact same.
It does. It does. And I believe Mustafa drove Abdulrahman's car at one point, which used to be Steven's car as well.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Austin in chat. RX-7 is definitely going to get a win. I'll take a parlay on that as well.
Well, I don't think an RX-7 is going to get a win. An RX-8 is going to get the win.
Did I say RX-7?
You did.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
But guess what? An RX-8 gets the win. Abdulrahman moves on. We'll see him in the last 8, where he'll fight for that last and final spot.
Well, and here we go. Next battle at the line and ready to go. Bakaris Alakas in the lead position up against Austin Silveski in that 370Z. The lights go on and off they go. Through the start gate clean, initiating in is Bakaris. And a good lead there out of the initiation, leaving the chase driver having to fight to catch back up and get that proximity. And whoa! Bakaris just goes completely off course. Not sure if that was maybe net
Yeah,
That's
I'm
almost
not
what
sure.
it looked like.
Is the gas pedal disconnected? I don't like. Yeah, interesting. Huh.
Actually, he just said in chat, just give the bye run. Wheel said bye-bye.
Oh, no. Unfortunate one for Bakaris. Looking good through turn 1. Here's that transition. And then just took off into the kitty litter, into the sand.
I picture the Xbox disconnect sound in my head. Just off he goes.
Controller disconnected. Austin continues on. He goes across that finish line. So Austin is gonna get himself a little bye run here. Little extra qualifying run here as he's through the gate. And nicely done from Austin there as he'll move on into the last 8.
He sure will, up against Abdulrahman Al-Shetwi. At the line now is Brandon Williams in the S15 up against Alexander, the Lock Stops Jaeger. That's right, I'm giving him a nickname already, because every qualifying run it was on them. Initiating in, Brandon Williams, looking good, but right on him was Alexander Jaeger, though he might have been 2 off that entire outer zone as they come through that inside clip and push out outer zone 3 now through the Manji section. Alexander doing his best to keep on the door of Brandon Williams, transitioning now into outer zone 7. A bit of a lunge there from the chase position, but not too much. Doesn't make contact, just gets it on the door of Brandon and holds it there to the finish line.
Yeah, let's take another look on the replay here. We'll take a look at this first turn. Brandon enters in nicely, but kind of lacking a little bit of angle, and it pushes him wide to the latter half of that turn, and he hangs on to the outside for a little bit too long, and Alexander sort of follows him out there. So a point to notice through that first turn, and maybe, you know, quite the deduction from Brandon out front, being that he's, you know, leading the 2 through the course. But other than that, it stays smooth. Good lead out front. Alexander's doing what he should in the chase, and will flip things around.
And flip things around indeed. Alexander Jaeger at the start line in the lead position, with Brandon Williams ready to chase him down. The lights go on, and this second half of the battle is underway. Lighten up the tires all the way down as Alexander Jaeger flick initiation, and Brandon is right there with him as they come down through outer zone 1, transitioning down the hill. Losing a bit of ground is the chase driver, but managing to pull it back in through the Manji section, transitioning right along that bumper of Alexander Jaeger. As now they come into outer zone 7. Brandon doing a good job keeping that proximity, keeping that pressure, losing a bit of ground on the transition, but gets it right back on the door through that final outer zone.
Yeah, good one between these two. Let's take another look here. Alexander much nicer through turn 1 along that track edge all the way through down at the bottom of the hill, and leaving Brandon behind just a little bit. You see Brandon have to take a little bit of a rumble strip line back there through that inside clip, but does a good job to reel him back in, stay in the pocket nicely with Alexander Jaeger, nice and smooth into here as well, picking up throttle when Alexander should. Nice and smooth across in there. You see the bobble from Brandon in that chase position. So a close one to call between these two. Will go to the judges. Brandon Williams on the left, Alexander on the right. Winner moves on to the last 8. And there it is, I think. Yeah, Alexander Jaeger gets the win, moving on into the last 8. Good battle between those two.
Now our last battle of the last 16. We're moving into the very quick final 8, last 8. Get into the qualifying, or get into battles for later today. In the lead lane there is Samuel Cuddy, being chased down by Nick Hang in the S14. The lights go on and off they go. Lighten up the tires all the way down as Samuel initiating in, but right with him is Nick Hang as they come through outer zone 1 and make a very close transition down the hill through that inside clip and into the outer zone. Nick Hang hanging it all out on the line in that chase position, giving a little tap there to Samuel coming through outer zone 6 as they transition into outer zone 7. Slowing down and a little bit of a surge and another surge again from that chase position, causing 2 contacts.
Yeah, something interesting happened there for sure. We'll take another look at it here on the replay as they make their way down the hill nicely. Nick Hang applying the pressure, does get caught up in the transition just a little bit there at the bottom of the hill, but keeps things going. Trying to tuck up with him right along the bumper and the door now of Samuel Cuddy out front. Nice and smooth on the transition into outside 7. And then, ooh, yeah, okay. So it actually looks like Samuel, once he made that transition and went up onto the bump, it really compresses the rear hard. And sometimes You know, if you're not on top of things, the car can really bog down and just grab a ton of grip out of nowhere. And it kind of seems like maybe that was the case there. Just, you know, transition hit the bump, you know, almost at 90 and almost, you know, shut the car down. When I was practicing on it with the drivers and such, I would, you know, even downshift just to be sure that couldn't happen. But looks like maybe that's what happened.
Maybe. We'll leave it to the judges to decide, but the second half of the battle is ready to go. Nick Hang out front. And Samuel Cuddy chasing him down. Nick Hang, crazy initiation, nice flick entry. But there is Samuel Cuddy right on the door as they come down the hill. Samuel taking a little safer, leaving a bit more room through that inside clip to the next outer zone. And then gets right back in the pocket through the Manji section, through the next outer zone and in outer zone 7. This is where everything got out of shape there in the last run, and we'll see this time around. No contact, but a nice on the door is Samuel Cuddy to Nick Hang.
Yeah, let's take another look at it. Nick Hang out front this time, entering in right along that track edge, following it nicely through turn 1. Good transition at the bottom of the hill here, but really far on the inside of that inside clip at the bottom of the hill, which is, you know, quite the mistake there. You shouldn't really be there as the lead driver, but it doesn't really upset the run at all the way Samuel Cuddy and his car kind of, you know, fell on its face there at that last and final turn. But we'll go to the judges here. Samuel Cuddy on the left, Nick Hang without the picture on the right. Winner moves on to the last 8, last and final position in the last 8 as well. And it looks like it's going to be Samuel Cuddy getting the win and moving on.
Good job there from Samuel Cuddy getting that win. And now our last 8 bracket is full, which means only 4 drivers make it through 2 battles. Our first battle up is going to be Daniel Mora and Kazuki Fukushi. With Daniel Mora leading, waiting for Kazuki to get to the line. And as I say, there he is. So in the lead position is Daniel Mora in that BMW E30. And beside him in the beautiful Toyota GR Corolla is Kazuki Fukushi. The lights go on and this battle is underway to see who takes the first spot in the top 32. Initiating in is Daniel Mora. Good initiation. Kazuki just keeping that pressure on through outer zone 1 down the hill. Lots of angle there from Daniel Mora, but Kazuki keeping that pressure through the outer zone. Now in the Manji section, right along the bumper was Fukushi as they come through now to outer zone 7. Daniel Mora keeping it out front, but Kazuki keeping on the pressure. Sturges up, gets on that door, and they finish side by side.
All right, let's take another look at it here. That's Daniel Mora out front, not Kazuki Fukushi, as the names say on the left. Daniel looking good through turn 1. Tons of angle there as he comes down the hill. Kazuki falling back a little bit in his Corolla, trying to reel him back in. Filling that outside zone is Daniel Mora. Looking good throughout the course here so far. Quite a bit of left foot brake in that zone there, and before making that transition out front is Daniel. And Kazuki trying to reel him back in. He does so right up into the pocket in that chase position, and we'll flip him around.
We will, and I do apologize for the name mix-up there, but we'll get it sorted this time around. Fukushi out front, with Daniel Mora ready to chase him down. The lights go on and off they go. Kazuki initiating in. Huge initiation from Kazuki, but Mora right there with them through outer zone 1 as they transition down the hill. And a huge hit from Daniel Mora, pushing Kazuki offline, but he still manages to stay in it, only dropping a little bit of a tire They've now collected themselves and coming through outer zone 6 into outer zone 7. Holding it together. Daniel trying another surge there, but not quite getting up there as they come across the line and finish out the second run.
Yeah, here we go. Let's take another look at it. We've got some contact here. Kazuki throwing that car in, looking good through turn 1. On the hill. Nice on the transition. It's a tough one there. It looks like Kazuki was maybe already wide there. We'll leave it up to the judges as they continue on through the run. Daniel falling back just a little bit here. Quite a bit there in the last and final turn as well. And there they go across that finish line. We'll go to those judges here. Looks like we're missing some names. See if we can get that sorted. Yeah, but yeah, so we do have a split call. We are missing some names here on this graphic here. We'll see if we can get that sorted. But listening in to the judges, it is going to be a split call. Yes, so yep, it does. Okay, so Daniel Mora, he's gonna get the win, move on. The way the judges are seeing it, Kazuki, he was already washing out and going on quite the wide line. You can actually see it a little bit here in the replay. We can actually go back to that for a second and watch him enter in, since it happens early here in the run. They come down the hill, make the transition here, and you see there Kazuki's already outside of the normal skid marks well before he takes that contact with the other drivers. So drivers back at the line are ready to go.
Well, that'd be our next battle, actually. I mean, Daniel Mora moves into the top 32 battles for later today, and we have our next battle at the line and already on their way. Abdulaziz Al-Harbi in the lead position with Oliver Eppinger chasing him down through that first outer zone. They come down the hill. Oliver is keeping that pressure on to Al-Harbi as they come through the Manji section now, right along the bumper is the transition as they come into outer zone 6. Now the transition into outer zone 7. A little farther back is Oliver, but leaving the room there for the transition to get up on the door of Abdulaziz through that finish line.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here on the replay. Abdulaziz Al-Harbi out front, throwing that A6 in. Again, leaving the outside zone, though, after he does in that lead position. Doesn't really affect the run. Oliver in that chase right into the pocket, falls off a little bit there. Understandable through that Manji section of the course, fall off a little bit through that mid section. but then right back into the pocket, and Abdulaziz doing a good job out front in that lead run, keep things going. There they go, across that finish line.
Back at the start line are our drivers, with Oliver Eppinger taking his spot there in that lead position, and Abdulaziz Al Harbi ready to chase him down. The lights go on, and the second half of this battle is underway. It'll determine who takes the next spot in our top 32 battles. Initiating in is Oliver Eppinger with, 2, maybe 3 tires off there from Oliver Eppinger. Looks like Eppinger shuts it down completely. That would give the win over to Abdulaziz.
Yeah, shutting it down early indeed. Unfortunate to see. Abdulaziz will continue on across the line. And we'll take a look at it here on the replay. Again, Oliver out front there, drops a tire, and it's hard to recover once you do here on this course, as that track edge really falls off camber there opposite of the camber that you're already driving on, and you just lose a ton of grip. Rear unloads, and it's hard to recover from it. Unfortunate to see, but that does mean Abdulaziz is going to move on. We'll go to those judges. There they go, sliding right. Abdulaziz Al Harbi gets the win, moves on. We'll see him in the top 32. We'll take a second to look at the bracket there. There you see Daniel Moore grabbing that slot. Abdulaziz Al Harbi grabbing another as well. And here they come to the line.
This is going to be Alexander Yagard and Samuel Cuddy. Samuel Cuddy in the lead position. Alexander ready to chase him down. Initiating in is Samuel Cuddy. Looking good so far. 1 tire, 2 tires off though through that first outer zone. Down the hill they come. Alexander Yagard putting on the pressure through that inside clip to the next outer zone. Now into the Manji section, leaving a bit of a room for error. The lead driver doing a good job. Maybe a bit of contact there. Oh no, that would have been the bump that's there, and they both hit it at the same time. From the chase position just before the finish line. We'll let our drivers drive back around, get ready for the second half of this battle.
There they go, back to the line. Sorry about that. It's just been having some microphone difficulties here and there. It just resets when it feels like it today.
Well, back at the front they are, and that's okay. We'll get those mic difficulties worked out, hopefully, as Alexander Yagard is now in the lead position, getting chased down by Samuel Cuddy. Initiating in is Alexander, looking good through outer zone 1. Cuddy leaving a little bit of room there, but really taking a risk on that transition right along the bumper to Alexander Yagard as they come into the Manji section. Samuel starting to put that pressure on and stay right with Alexander as they come through outer zone 7. Looking good so far on the transition. Cuddy just trying to put that car where it needs to be and keep it where it was. That is the end of that battle.
Yeah, it sure is. We'll take another look at it here. Alexander out front this time. Samuel Cuddy chasing him down. Alexander looking good there, holding on to the outside a little long there for turn 1. Gets swiped on the transition, it looks like, from Samuel Cuddy in that chase. Look at there, right on the bumper through the Manji section of the course. Reeling him back in. Alexander doing a fantastic job out front in that lead position, right along that track edge. Samuel reeling him back in. And we'll go to the judges and see which one gets the win here and moves on into the top 32. And look up there, Alexander Yeager gets the win. He moves on, and I believe we've got just one more battle to go.
One more battle indeed. In your lead position is Austin Zaleski in that 370Z. And beside him in the chase position, Abdulrahman Al-Shetwi in the RX-8. Light goes on, and who will be who will take the final spot in the top 32? Initiating in is Austin, looking good, but Abdulrahman right there with him as it comes down in a big shunt from the chase position, knocking him offline, but not upsetting Austin too much as they come through the Manji section now and down towards outside zone 6. Abdulrahman keeping a good proximity now, trying not to make any more contacts as they come through the final outer zones and finish out the first half of this run.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Last and final battle of the last 16 here. Austin Zaleski out front, doing a good job against Al-Shetwi, but getting pushed there from that chase position. It'll be another tough one for the judges to dissect and give fault for the contact, as it did affect the run. They continue on anyway. Al-Shetwi applying the pressure in the chase, and there they go across that finish line.
Back around at the start line, our drivers have just arrived and they're ready to go once again. Al-Shetwi now in the lead position with Zaleski ready to chase him down. The lights go on and the second half of this battle is underway. Abdulrahman initiating in, Austin right there with him as they come through outer zone 1. Nice proximity through outer zone 1 as they transition down the hill, and nice and close is the chase driver, keeping that pressure on to Al-Shetwi. They come through outer zone 5 and down towards 6. This is going to be a close battle between these two. On the doors, Austin leaving just enough room for that final transition and keeping it on the door through to the finish.
As they make their way through the course here, transitioning through. Nice battle between these two. Look at Zaleski applying the pressure in that chase. Picking up throttle again. Out front is Al-Shetwi on time. Look at there. Track edge everywhere from that lead position. Will go to the judges. Al-Shetwi on the left, Austin Zaleski on the right. Last and final spot in that top 32. Up for grabs here with this battle. Judges might be dissecting that bit of contact in the first half of the battle. They kind of threw Austin Zaleski offline, a bit wide coming into outside zone 3. One right after that inside clip. And we've got one judge going left for Al-Shetwi, one going right for Zaleski. Last and final judge goes left. Abdulrahman Al-Shetwi getting the win and the last and final position in the top 32. We'll take a look at the bracket and how it played out. Daniel Mora, Abdulrahman Al-Shetwi, Abdulaziz Al-Harbi, and Alexander Yeager all moving on. And the way they'll get seated is Abdulaziz Al-Harbi, being that he is 33 in that group of 4. He will get slotted into the 29th position. Daniel Mora will get slotted into the 30th position, being that he qualified 37th. Alexander Yeager will get slotted into the 31st position. And Al Shetwi will get slotted into that 32nd position. And look at this. These are all drivers that didn't qualify in the top 32.
And now
going
they're in
up
the top
against
32.
those that, you know what I mean, that would have qualified in the top 32. Those drivers got knocked out, and we'll see these in the top 32. So yeah, I think the change is nice.
I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's a great way to give drivers that second chance of hope.
Yeah, or that last chance.
I see what
But
you
there
did
it is. Yeah. It was good. But fantastic battles as well. Again, these were all the way down to the 44th qualifier in these battles. The 43rd qualifier pushed forward and is now in the top 32. Same with the 42nd driver. Came out on top. They'll move on. And we got to watch some killer battles before we move on into the top 32. A lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I hope everybody else watching enjoyed it as well, because we're going to continue this all throughout the season. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you to our awesome sponsors as well, and new partner, Extreme Sim Racing. Our official title sponsor, Sim Magic, Grip Royal, and Joka Design. Again, we'll take about an hour break here. Come back 4 p.m. Eastern for the top 32 main event, where drivers are going to battle it out. And we've got some killer prizes that we have yet to announce that these drivers are battling over. They don't even know about it at this point as well. So stay tuned. We'll schedule the next live stream for the main event. You can hang out and chat there if you'd like, or go get yourself something to eat, something to drink, freshen up, and get ready for an exciting event of top 32 battles.